in Game 1, the home runs, and then power the other way for Toronto in Game 2. Chris Tillman takes the mound. The Birds looking to win the series against Toronto before they head to New York. Game 3 coming up right now. It's the Orioles on Masson, and it's a day game in a Sunday afternoon in Toronto and a beautiful summer day as the Orioles and Blue Jays will wrap up this 3-game set. This is the rubber match in a couple of games in which the Orioles have done fairly well at holding down this explosive Toronto offense. In game number 1, the Orioles themselves had a big explosion of offense. Then David Price came along and cut them down. So today the Orioles have a chance to take this series. Win streaks, substantial win streaks are needed by the Orioles right now if they are going to cut into the teams ahead of them looking for a wild card spot. As far as this series is concerned, here's what it looks like home and road. For the Orioles, the runs have not varied a lot. At Camden Yards, 3-3. You see the runs per ball game there. The home runs, 11-6. Orioles better at home in that department, and the team ERA a little better. Now here at Rogers Center, the Orioles have not fared as well, 3-5, even though they've scored a lot of runs, almost as many per game as the Blue Jays have. They have not had the ERA to get them over the hump. These teams are averaging something around 11 runs per ball game now in the season. So two offensive teams have been just that. But in this series, a little bit different, Mike Bordick, and a chance today for Tillman to rectify some pretty bad numbers against Toronto.
Well, boy, Tillman has had a rough time with these Toronto Blue Jays all year long. And unfortunately, I guess it was in the first half when it seemed like every start was a question mark for Chris Tillman. He's pitched much better the second half, and he has to have an outstanding start today. You saw all the numbers, both home and away. These are powerhouse offensive teams. Earned run averages are up. The key, I think, to this series, and really it's been overlooked all year long, and the Orioles' ability to score first. 45-26 this year when they score first. Head-to-head against the Blue Jays, they've scored first 8 times. All 6 of their wins have come when they've scored first. Of course, in this series, scored first the first night, they won. Didn't score first yesterday, they lost. So making a mark early in a ball game is crucial, and this team needs to find a way to turn things around, especially here in September. A win in this series could maybe take the wind out of the Toronto sails a little bit, and then the Orioles head to New York, where obviously things get a little bit tougher for the Orioles, but make a mark early. Any way this team can. Push a run across the board and take your chances the rest of the way.
See if they can do that against Estrada. Burley was supposed to pitch today. He's going to wait until Monday, and the Orioles get an opportunity to ride a train to a series win. All you got to do is walk outside, go over to the beer brewery across the street. There's the train. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Coons.com. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. Real summer weather all up and down the eastern seaboard and here in Toronto. Summer weather. We're at 79 degrees, our BGE home game time temperature. Humidity up today. BGE Home is Baltimore's home team for heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical. Why would you call anyone else? Lineups have been exchanged. Buck Showalter came out to have a word with the crew chief, Tim Timmons, who's at third base. Mike Everett's the home plate umpire. Probably checking on whether or not this game is being played with a warning issued before it starts. Nobody seems to know about the warning that was issued yesterday or whether there was one for sure. In any event, let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Orioles, brought to you by Southwest. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Machado, Pyra, Jones, Davis, Scope, Paredes. Clevenger is going to do the catching. Whether Matt Wieters is even available is not information Buck Showalter is going to give out before the game. Reimold added to the roster today, and then Ryan Flaherty. Paredes this season with the big numbers against Toronto.
And let's take a look at Marco Estrada's pitch arsenal this season. The fastball 60% of the time. Not overpowering by any means. High 80s, low 90s with the heater. Breaking ball has a curveball. We'll mix in a cutter off the fastball, but the changeup, that's his bread and butter pitch. 29% of the time. He uses that third most in all of Major League Baseball. 3.16 earned run average. He's really stabilized this rotation, making 22 starts, 11-8 record. He's only given up 110 hits and 142 in the third innings of work, holding opponents down to a 210 overall batting average. Lefties just 208, righties 211. He is a fly ball pitcher. 67% of his outs recorded in the air, has given up those 17 long balls. And the Orioles need to think about hitting that home run. Put the marks on the board against Estrada. Not let him settle in and get a rhythm, because he can be dominant at times.
Now, Burley was scheduled to pitch today. Estrada was officially added yesterday. And the belief here around the Toronto Ball Club is that Mark Burley, who's been pushed to Monday against the Red Sox, that they're trying to get Stroman back in. Marcus Stroman could take the mound next weekend against the New York Yankees, which may be the reason why they shuffled this lineup again. Burley's now had a couple of extra days rest. I was talking with him this morning, and he said, I'm fine. So we're just trying to maneuver this to get the rotation where we want it to be. So we'll see how they go with it. For the Orioles, they're ready to go as Manny Machado will lead it off. Manny's had a couple of hits, 7 at-bats in the first 2 games of the series, enough to extend his hit streak to 5 games. Pitch taken up high, and he's done this against Estrada.
Yeah, he got a fastball up and away and hammered it into right center field. And Machado taking Estrada deep back on May 11th.
1-5 and the home run against Estrada. Estrada against the Orioles has a 1-1 record this season. That is the number he has against the O's in his career. Only game he pitched against them here as a starter he won in this ballpark. And the pitch is taken up high. So pitch is way up high, and Estrada looks like still trying to get loose out there. 3-0.
Yeah, he really does. Doesn't have a good feel for it here right now. First 3 pitches, almost non-competitive.
3-0 delivery on the way, and he walked him on 4 straight, and all of them were up. Yeah, see how that works out.
Take a look at the Blue Jays defense behind Estrada. Javier, Pilar, and Batista in the Jays outfield. Tulowitzki and Goins up the middle. Donaldson and Colabello on the corners, and Navarro will make the start this afternoon.
So that'll bring up Parra, anchoring that number 2 spot. He's had a 1-for-9 in the series. Estrada on that first base side of the rubber, pointing towards first base when he starts to go into his stretch, and brings that leg back out front. Machado off first, and at third Donaldson, and the pitch up high, and that's got to bring Navarro out a little bit anyway. That's probably a point where a catcher really needs to go all the way out to the mound.
Yeah.
Don't have to say anything. Just go out there and say, all right, we're starting over. I just came out here to say nothing. Now I'm going back. Throw strikes.
Calm down. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Maybe that front side flying open a little too quick here in the early going.
1-0 delivery on the way. That is in there for a strike. That's the pitch you're going to see a lot of. Talking with Buck Showalter about that this morning. His changeup he uses almost 29% of the time. That's the 3rd most in the majors. that a pitcher uses his changeup in his repertoire. Ball will be put up in the air towards center field. High sky, lots of sun, roof open. Pilar gets an angle and the catch.
Back-to-back changeups right there to get Parr to fly out to center field. Yeah, that is his bread and butter pitch for sure, and great variation off his fastball, 10 to 14 miles an hour. Significant separation from the heater.
The beloved Adam Jones, known to one and all, not only here in the city of Toronto, but throughout this magnificent country, for his discussions early on this year with Bautista. And the fans have remembered and give him a welcoming boo each time he comes to the plate. Adam 0 for 5 lifetime against Estrada. Manny Machado short lead at first base. And the pitch again taken up high. He's able to throw the off-speed deliveries for strikes early here, real early, but the fastball won't come down.
All right. And, you know, he has great confidence in that changeup, though. He'll double up, triple up with it at times, but until he can throw that fastball for a strike, the Orioles should probably just lay off.
Adam going up a little bit on a pitch and kind of over the top of it fouls it off. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Stealing bases against Estrada, you can run 7 out of 12. Stolen bases against him. You got Navarro, backup catcher, working today. Russell Martin getting the day off. Navarro's thrown out 9 of 19 caught stealing this year. So pretty good arm. And that funky set position, as a runner, you really got to see that a couple of times to figure out where he's going with that front leg. 1 ball, 1 strike. Machado's leaning back towards first base. Long hold. Jones will foul that one right straight back on a big cut.
Talking about the stolen bases, take a look at the fewest stolen bases in a 2-year span. This is the last 30 seasons. The Athletics only 78 from 04 to 05. They're the Orioles. Last year and this year only 81 stolen bases. Now Manny Machado, he's been running for the O's, but the next closest is Paredes and Jones, tied with 3 stolen bases.
No running game for the Orioles, and that one fouled off away. Something they will be looking at. A couple of us were talking this morning just about how many players the Orioles have gone through this year, and that's where some of the hope for speed disappeared to. Fans remember back, it was Snyder in left field and De Aza in right at the beginning of the year. That seems like 250 million years ago.
Right.
They were supposed to both help in the speed department, and both flamed out. 1 ball, 2 strike count, throw over, and easily back to the bag. Well, Toronto comes in having gained a game. The Yankees lost yesterday, so Toronto's a game and a half up on the Yankees. The Orioles, their fight not getting any easier for that wild card spot. New York and Texas hold the wild card spots right now, but Minnesota, the Angels, Tampa Bay, and Cleveland are all ahead of the Orioles, who are 6.5 games away from wild card. Got him to bite on a pitch that was in the dirt. Navarro had trouble hanging on to it, but Adam wasn't going to take off anywhere. Runner on at first base.
Well, the curveball. Estrada flips up there. Gets Adam Jones way out in front. Over aggressive there as the curveball gets spiked out in front of home plate.
Navarro practicing his blocking as a pulling guard as he put the shoulder into Adam, trying to find the baseball. Here's Chris Davis, the hot bat with the long ball. 3 for 8, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs here in the series. And again, Estrada just flying open on those deliveries. There's no follow through at all on that fastball. And a 1-0 count on Davis.
Well, a big part of that great changeup is certainly the arm speed sell. So he's got to master that. And I think right now just trying to be a little too quick with the fastball.
Down to first, going to be thrown away. Machado's going to go. Chance at second base. The tag. He's in. Good backup by Goins, the second baseman, on the throw made by Navarro. Manny took off as though he was going to steal, got a third of the way and stopped.
Take a look at Manny here. Possibly a little delay. Changes his mind, comes back. Navarro yoinks in away, but great backup by the second baseman Ryan Goins. Makes it a very close play at second base. Manny, that head first slide, the long arms, able to get that right hand in just before the Tulowitzki tag.
So the throwing error is on Navarro. Game held up for a minute while John Gibbons asked a chance to look at the replay. He's not going to challenge here. So the Orioles get a chance in the first inning to get on the board. 2 down, runner at second. They've gone 6 for 15 in these 2 games with runners in scoring position. 5 for 10 in game 1, 1 for 5 yesterday. 1 ball, 1 strike count on Davis, and Chris takes it up high again. Well, this is a chance for somebody like Chris to be looking for a start at a groove one. If he's trying too hard to get that ball down, he may try and aim a pitch, and if he does that, now they're going to walk him and not give him that chance.
Yeah, it seems like here in the early going, you can kind of file that fastball away and sit changeup. I know that sounds kind of funny, but just stay back on the ball and don't overcommit on the heater, and that changeup can look like a beach ball coming in there.
Talking to Buck this morning as he set this lineup up, Buck said, I've moved Jonathan Scope up. We don't have Wieters to play today, at least to start. I got to have somebody to try and protect Davis in that number 4 hole so they'll pitch to him, which they haven't done here. So I want Jonathan Scope in that spot. So there's Matt sitting, and again, as we said, that wrist he hurt on that Tulowitzki play the other night, how serious that is. They x-rayed, no fracture or anything, but whether he could actually come out and play in this game, Buck Showalter is not going to say because he doesn't want Toronto to know. And the pitch will be taken, off-speed pitch in there for a strike. 2 for 8 in the series. Jonathan Scope has had a good bat going. He's only faced Estrada once and hit a home run against him. 2 on, 2 out. Defense straight up against the Orioles second baseman. And way up again. This is really strange.
Yeah, he's only thrown 1 fastball for a strike. The only strikes he's thrown over the plate have been that changeup.
Estrada comes in with great numbers. ERA at home 2.9, which is 9th best in the league. He is 6th in ERA overall on the season. 1-1 delivery, and you see him almost overthrowing right there. Here's the homer we talked about.
Yeah, April 10th, Jonathan Scope, he got Estrada as well. Blast out into the Orioles bullpen.
So a 2-ball, 1 strike count. Estrada just turning 32 years old. 2-1. Orioles trying to get one in here, and there's the off-speed pitch, and he just does not have a feel at all. All over the place, even with the off-speed delivery that time, and it goes to 3-1.
Now, Orioles really have to recognize that and be extremely selective here. Jonathan Scope cannot be lured into over-aggressiveness right now. Make Estrada work. Keep the pressure on him until he can prove to throw back-to-back strikes.
3-1. See if he goes with a fastball or changeup. Came in. Ow. Navarro took the brunt of that one. And a 3-ball, 2-strike count.
Coming right after Jonathan Scope. 3-1 heater. And he gets the bat head out in front. A little bit of a dip. Fouls it off and catches Navarro right on the left side of the face mask.
So 3-2, 2 down. 2 walks. Machado and Davis, they are the base runners. And Estrada trying to work his way out of the inning. And the Orioles trying to get one of those all-important first markers. 3-2 pitch. Runners go. Strike him out. Estrada gets 2 Ks, 2 walks, and retires the side. Nothing across. Tillman to the mound for the O's. Wide. Orioles have won 5 of the last 8 against Toronto. Try and take a series today. It'll be Revere, Donaldson, Bautista, Encarnacion, Tulowitzki, Colabello, Navarro, Goins, and Pilar. For Bautista this year, he's continued his run against the Oriole pitchers.
Now let's take a look at Chris Tillman's pitch arsenal this year. The fastball 66% of the time. Good four-seamer at the top of the zone. The two-seamer's been developing. Used it much more the second half, and the numbers have kind of shown. Breaking ball over the top curve 21%, and the straight change 13% of the time. I believe that changeup is going to be the key to Tillman's success this afternoon. 4.87 earned run average, 97 punch-outs, 50 walks on the year for Tillman. The opponent's a 266 batting average. He has given up 15 long balls this year, and he has had some serious problems with this Blue Jays lineup.
All 3 starts against the Blue Jays, as we mentioned in the open, coming early. Here's Revere, left-hander, leading off. He's had a hit in 9 at-bats. Lineup, a couple of left-handers in it. Right-handers with that bigger number against Tillman. So John Gibbons has loaded it with right-handers. That's going to be a base hit towards the gap. Adam Jones over to cut it off. Revere on, leadoff single.
Let's take a look at the Orioles defense behind Chris Tillman here this afternoon. Reimold's going to start in left field, just recalled back to the big leagues. Jones in center, Parr over in right. Machado and Scope the double play combination this afternoon. Flaherty getting the start at third, and Davis at first, with Clevenger behind the plate.
There is Nolan Reimold. Some question whether the Orioles were even going to continue his call up. He got halfway here yesterday believing Burley, the left-hander, was going to start, and he has good numbers against Burley. And Orioles kept him coming. And here he is in the lineup again, getting the start. Josh Donaldson with an 0 for 7. The Orioles have held him down. Runner on at first. Revere, real good speed. Tillman very tough to steal against. And that will be in there for a strike.
Well, I will say this about the Orioles pitching. It was nice, obviously, for Ubaldo to pick up his 10th win of the season, but they have completely controlled the top of this Blue Jays lineup. 1 through 5, just 5 for 38. Well, now 6 for 38 with that Revere single, but the bottom of the lineup, Goins and Pilar, 6 for 14. So pay attention to everyone.
Goins has been on 13 of the last 29 plate appearances. Has really done damage to the Orioles this year. But right about the top, boy, they did an outstanding job here in the first 2 games for the most part. I mean, Bautista got to it yesterday. The home run, couple of RBIs. Donaldson with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. The MVP candidate hitting at an even 300. Coming into the Sunday of baseball as he continues up on the leaderboards in just about every category. The Orioles have done a good job of keeping him down. Looking for the double play ground ball right here. 1-1 delivery by Tillman. Breaking ball bounced. Clevenger. Remember now, Steve Clevenger working behind the plate for the Orioles in this ball game. Clevenger has gone 1 for 3, throwing out base stealers in the only chances that he's had. Wanted to give Caleb Joseph the time off. Whether or not Wieters will be available today, an issue. It's also an issue as to whether or not he'll be available tomorrow. Clevenger in his 5th start behind the plate. 2-ball, 1-strike count. And that pitch will be outside. Well, the numbers Tillman had early on against Toronto: 1 game, 7 runs, 7 hits, 2 2/3. Next game, gave up 7 runs, 5 hits, and 4 1/3. Third game, he gave up 5 runs, 9 hits, and 6 2/3. Now, all of those starts came between the first of the season and May 12, so it's a long time ago. Not that Toronto doesn't deserve to be considered in that. And there's going to be a base hit into the corner. Donaldson got one up. Reimold racing. Revere's going to be able to score. Ball died in the corner. Double and an RBI and a 1-0 lead.
Well, Josh Donaldson, big power man, leader for MVP. He jumps on an inside fastball. Bat head directly to the baseball. bounces around a little bit. Nolan Reimhold was filling up that left center field gap, and you got some speed at first base. Revere, the leadoff single, and he turns on the burners, plays out in front of him, so he sees it, no hesitation at all. And cruise home, and Donaldson in scoring position himself.
So the early one will go to Toronto, and they get another shot at it here with Bautista up, nobody out, and a runner on at second base. Bautista's 9 for 35 with 2 home runs off Chris Tillman. Pitch is inside to him for a ball. Donaldson gets his league leading 113th RBI. He and Chris Davis are the only 2 in the American League to have reached that century mark in runs batted in. 1-0 count. Bautista 3 for 6 in this series, hitting .350 against the Orioles this year. Fastball that will be there at 94 miles an hour.
A good heater right there from Chris Tillman, painting it down and away. Nice velocity, 94, and actually base hit by Revere, not a bad fastball down and away. And even the fastball to Donaldson inside, maybe elevated a little too much, allows him to get the bat head to it.
1 ball, 1 strike count from Tillman. Bautista will take it inside. Take a look at our Jeep inside the numbers.
Yeah, players with 10 or more home runs and 15 walks since August 1st. Well, this is showcasing 3 of them. Davis, 15 homers, 17 walks. Donaldson, 11 homers, 17 walks. And there's Bautista. He's got the 11 home runs and 18 walks. Power guys picking it up when they're supposed to.
He wishes he had 111, but
yeah,
he doesn't.
Right.
2 ball, 1 strikeout. And the pitch in the dirt. Clevenger makes the stop on it. Tillman falls behind again. A 3 ball, 1 strike count. Tillman came in, I think, with a good deal of confidence based on how he had been pitching recently. We talked about, you saw the opponent batting average 266 on the year. But since the All-Star break, 215. I mean, that's an incredibly low number. He's had second biggest differential drop in opponent batting average since the break. 3-1 delivery on the way, and Bautista on an off-speed pitch. So had him fooled. He was looking heat and didn't get it.
Well, that is a great changeup. Chris Tillman, 82 miles an hour. Perfect pitch, great location. You see Bautista, that front hip leaves, thinking it's going to be a fastball in. He changed his grip on the change. It's a 4-seam change instead of the 2-seamer. So it comes out of his hand looking just like the fastball.
3-2 count, runner off second base. Bautista puts it in the air to left field. It's deep and it's gone. Goodbye, home run. Bautista's 33rd. He's had 5 against the Orioles this year and 24 against the O's in his career. Picks up right where he left off yesterday, first inning.
Trying to get that fastball by him. Clevenger wants it away. After speeding him up there with the changeup. Thinks he can sneak it by him, but Bautista ready for it and just straight ambush for a 2-run shot.
That ball hit the short. That's going to be a base hit on Encarnacion. Reimold will get it back in. And Encarnacion, who came in with an 0 for 10 streak, delivers a hit, and Tillman not fooling anybody, and Clevenger's heading to the mound.
Now this Blue Jays offense pretty confident going against Chris Tillman. They put up some incredible numbers against him. 25 runs, 27 hits in 15 innings this year against Tillman. So Coach Dave Wallace will come out and give him a little breather. He's getting out of control here early on in the ball game. No outs on the board, and Blue Jays already putting a crooked number up there. Find a way, find a hole. Haven't seen many fastballs at the top of the zone. Nice to stay aggressive up there. They're driving the ball down right now.
So the discussion held. There's still nobody out. Single, double, home run, single. And A 3-0 lead for Toronto. That'll bring Tulowitzki up. Tulowitzki with a 1 for 9 in the series. Again, another one of these very good hitters that the Oriole pitchers have held down in the first 2 games. Runner on first. Tulowitzki will take it inside. Difference he's made, we've talked about throughout the series. Everybody has. With Tulowitzki in the lineup, this Toronto team has gone 27-7 since he joined the ball club. 1-0 count.
Now, when the Blue Jays approached that trade deadline, they were targeting areas where obviously they were deficient. They knew they had plenty of offense. They wanted to shore up their defense, help the pitching staff out. So they go out and get one of the best shortstops in the game, Troy Tulowitzki, and they would love for his bat to come along, but just his glove alone has changed this team around.
2-0 count. Not a lead at first. Encarnacion slow of foot, but not of bat. 2-0 delivery on the way, and he will get the strike, making him throw, and the count will go to 2-1. Nolan Reimold, the only add-on today for the Orioles. Oriole fans can expect to see a continuing shuffling of players both up and down, according to Buck Showalter, for the remainder of the season, as they try and get people in there who give them the best chance of winning, depending on who they're playing. And also, if the Orioles continue to fall, it's going to be about taking a look at some players they want to look at for the future. 2-1 delivery on the way, and he buried that one by him at 94 in a 2-ball 2-strike count.
Great fastball right there. Troy Tulowitzki, one of the best power hitting shortstops for a number of years. Take a look at his power zone. He is filling up the middle and up and away. So be careful there. The red, obviously, where he hits the ball the hardest. If you throw a ball in that zone, he squares it up most generally. Work down. And Tillman is pounding the zone right now with the fastball.
2-ball 2-strike count. Outfield again, squeezing the middle as the Orioles usually do, and that'll be inside. This has not been a good park for Tillman historically. He is 2-5 here in Toronto. His ERA in this ballpark is 7.38, and so far it hasn't gotten any kind of a lift here in the first inning. 3 runs on 4 hits. Double play ground ball right here would make this inning look a whole lot better for the Orioles. 3-2 count. Tulowitzki waiting on it, and a swing and a miss. So he gets the K, and there's out number 1.
Another good change up here. 84 miles an hour. Tulowitzki gearing up for the heater in. Hits it by him for the first out.
That'll bring Colabello to the plate. He's had a hot bat. 330 for an extended period of games. 23 multi-hit games in the last 83. Encarnacion on at first base. Chris Davis holding the bag on him in the infield double play depth. Colabello will take it down low. Buck Showalter was saying this morning, we were talking about scouting reports and your advanced scout for these series. So I got about 5 questions I ask him, and he says one right at the top is, tell me who's hot and who's not. We show you those numbers during our broadcast, who's hot, who's not coming in. It's one of the things Buck says I want to know, because I want to know who we got to work around, who we got to be careful of, and I count on my advanced scouts to tell me that, because then we can figure out who we got to go after in the lineup and who we got to be a little more careful with.
And how do you think they targeted this Blue Jays lineup? Because
don't pitch anybody in the top 9.
Right.
When you get to 10, go ahead.
Well, we talked about Encarnacion just coming off the Player of the Month for August, and Donaldson probably finished second in the voting. His numbers are almost identical to Encarnacion, so a couple tremendous power numbers there. And of course, Batista's picked it up the second half of his power numbers. We talked about the bottom of this lineup. Goins had a 12-game hitting streak spoiled the first night of the series. So this offense is clicking. Before we came in, 12 games prior, they were averaging 8 runs per game scored. So
that's why. I mean, that's a championship caliber kind of ball club when you got that up and down your lineup, especially when you don't give a pitcher a break in the bottom third. Those last 3 hitters, generally in lineups, you got a shot at least of going after them and getting outs. You figure you can do that, but that hasn't been the case. Mike said here in this series, they've been doing most of the damage coming into this game 3. 2-1 delivery on the way, and that is going to be there for a strike. Colabello leaning in a little too quickly, had to give up on it, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Colabello, a couple of hits and 3 at-bats, lifetime against Orioles starter Chris Tillman. And Chris having to work a very tough first inning here. Right from the get-go with that leadoff single by Revere. 2-2. Encarnacion off first. Swing and a miss. Got him to go after the 94-mile-an-hour pitch and a couple of Ks.
Well, I like the way Tillman's been driving the ball in the bottom of the strike zone. Here, the fastball. Clevenger wants it down and away. That just kind of shows you what kind of life he has up through the top of the zone. Colabello to swing right through 94-mile-an-hour heater.
So that'll bring Navarro to the plate. Deanna Navarro getting his first appearance here in this series. He's hit against Tillman before, 5 for 16. Lifetime off Chris Tillman. Runner at first, 2 outs, 3 runs in. And Navarro takes it, and it's a strike. Navarro, switch hitting catcher. Right now, 200 right-handed, 224 left-handed. Navarro in the year with the power numbers, getting it done from both sides of the plate. Not a lot of power with 3 home runs up on the board. Only 47 games played. And the pitch, a strike on the inside corner. So Tillman's settling in here after the first 4 hitters got on, throwing some strikes and getting ahead of Navarro 0-2.
Well, that's a good sign for Tillman. Obviously not the success he's wanted this year against the Blue Jays, and the wheels can obviously come off in a hurry. Tillman recapturing that focus, a couple quick outs, back-to-back Ks, and right on the 1 pitch away, getting out of this first inning.
Orioles in the shift. Davis playing behind the runner on Encarnacion at first. Left-hander up there. Navarro, runner goes, and a chopper right back to the mound. Tillman will make the flip, and that will retire the side. But it'll be 3 runs scored on 4 hits, including a 2-run homer by Bautista for a Jays 3-0 lead. $500 more for every Orioles home run hit today. Play baseball buck scratch-offs today. Win up to $50,000 instantly. Learn more at mdlottery.com/baseball. Well, on this Sunday, Toronto in their division, 1.5 over the Yankees. KC waiting for the postseason. Houston just 2 up on Texas. That fight's going to go on. The Mets still lead the Nationals by 5, even though the Nationals have won 4 in a row. Cardinals 6.5 over the Pirates, and the Dodgers now 7.5 over a fading Giant team. Orioles will head to New York, where the Yankees have been struggling at home. I mean, they've been winning some games, but they've had 3 runs or less in 8 of the last 12 ball games scored, and they've lost 9 of their last 15 at Yankee Stadium. Those 15 games, the Yankees have hit only .202 and have averaged 2.9 runs a game. Orioles hope it stays that way. Pitch taken down low for a ball. Task at hand here. Get back into this one. Paredes up. 3-game hit streak, 2 for 4 in the series. The Orioles DH. Let's keep an eye on Estrada all over the place in the first inning, whether or not he can settle down and find strikes. 1-1.
Well, I think this inning's really important for the Orioles offense. Yeah, Estrada had problems, a couple walks in the first inning. Came out of there with a couple strikeouts, but a lot of pitches thrown. Did not have the command that Estrada's had all year long. The Orioles got to keep the pressure on him now. Do not let him settle in. Maybe the 3 runs that the Blue Jays put on the board will help Estrada kind of settle down a little bit, but this is where the Orioles have to do something to disrupt that kind of confidence.
This is where he has been very tough at home. Over the last 8 starts here in his ballpark, he's held opponents to a 157 batting average, 27 hits in 50 innings. 1-2 delivery on the way. That one's blasted foul the other way. Keep in mind, Estrada in his last outing against the Orioles back in June gave up only 1 run on 1 hit in 7 innings worked. He took a no-hitter into the 8th inning, and it was Paredes, who is at the plate right now, who broke up the no-hitter leading off the 8th. So that's how tough Estrada was against the Orioles in that last outing against them.
He had a nice little stretch back then. He actually had 2 back-to-back games where he had a no-hitter prior to the game against the Orioles into the 8th.
That one to the gap, hit hard. Bautista will get over. Ball kind of died out there in right center. Take a look at our Never Stop Improving, brought to you by Lowe's.
Now take a look at the lowest opponent average versus their own division, and Scott Kazmir leading against the American League West with just a 172, but there's Estrada. American League East just a 177 opponent batting average. You talked about his numbers here at the Rogers Center. When you find a starter that can control their division with the number of starts they have against them, it can be impactful, and I think Estrada's been that type of pitcher for the Blue Jays this year.
That'll bring Clevenger to the plate. Behind the plate, as we said, for his 5th start. He last played against Tampa Bay on the 2nd of September. Getting a job behind the plate this time, recalled on August 14 from the Tides. 1-1 delivery by Estrada, strike on the outside corner. Mike Everett, home plate umpire. If you're a pitcher who's getting it close to the plate, around it anywhere, generally is going to give the benefit of the doubt to the pitcher. So if you can be around that plate early in the ball game, it's advantageous later. Fouled back. Matt Wieters injured the wrist on this play.
And Jonathan Scope, a nice play on a Tulowitzki ground ball, but Yorkson away. Well, take a look at Matt Wieters. Nice job backing it up, recognizing Tulowitzki, but when he dives in there to second base and trying to get a tag on, he tweaks the wrist.
Goings will play this one, and Clevenger is retired. 2 down.
We'll take a look again. He lands on first base with that glove hand, and that's the hand that's bothering him right now. It looked good after the play. It started to tighten up, and then yesterday a no-go in the lineup. Buck won't divulge whether or not he could play today, other than questionable.
Or tomorrow.
Right.
J.J. Hardy sitting next to him there, the Orioles shortstop, will be back Tuesday against the Yankees. Pitch will be inside for a ball. Here is the much traveled Nolan Reimold back again with the Orioles. Added today. Getting the start in left field. Reimold will put it up in the air and foul. Nolan getting his first chance this year against Toronto. And he's batting in the number 8 spot here against Estrada as the Orioles continue to just shuffle players in and out of left field, as has been the case all year. Strike called on the outside corner. There's one of those strikes. If you hang around the plate, you'll get from home plate umpire Mike Everett.
Yeah, good change there. No one kind of giving up on that one. I think they had a chance to even make it.
1-2 fastball to Bautista. Shading his eyes. Finds it. So Estrada, after struggling in the first, comes back and retires the side in order. We go to the bottom of the second with the Jays up. Time later in our ball game, brought to you by Miller Lite. The erstwhile CN Tower outside the ballpark. Some of those who are standing out on top, riding back down. Go up there for a meal in the restaurant or just for the view. 3-0 lead for the Jays. Tillman will try and settle it down. 7 came to the plate for Toronto in the first inning. Goings will lead it off. He is 7 for 18 with a home run off Tillman. In at third base, Flaherty. Not bunting. Make that 8 for 19. Leadoff single as Revere had in the first inning. Well, next Saturday, the Orioles take on the Royals for a special 105 afternoon matinee. First 20,000 fans, 15 and over, get the Birdland knit scarf. Tickets for that Saturday afternoon game are available at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. So 5 hits in the game for the Jays. It's a problem Tillman's had all year. Retiring the leadoff batter only 60% of the time. You want to be up around 70 as a starting pitcher. He was last year, but not this year. Here's Pilar, number 9 hitter. But you couldn't tell the Orioles that. He's gone 4 for 8 in this series. He's hit .345 against the Orioles this year. 2 home runs. And he's 4 for 11 with 2 home runs off Tillman.
Well, he's been a spark plug for this team. I think they weren't really counting on him to be as productive and play the defense that he's been playing this year, and he's stepped up. And there have been a lot of stars that they've tried, some young stars in this outfield, and he's been head and shoulders above them. See those monster numbers against Tillman.
2-0 count. Runner on at first base. Long look. Pilar reaching. Scope was playing the other way. Only plays at first base. So the runner will get moved up. Productive out. for Pilar.
Well, good things happen when you go up there with good intentions, and Pilar wanting to try to shoot that hole with Goins on first base and hold the hands inside. In and out, but Goins into second base, so in scoring position.
That will bring up Ben Revere. Revere with a runner on at second base. RBI opportunity for him. He got a sharp, solid base hit his first time to the plate. Great speed. Flaherty recognizing that. Step in front of the bag at third. And the pitch high and away to Revere. Revere's really put up pretty fine numbers. 354 on base percentage for him. And he's a table setter in the tradition of the word in baseball. 1-0 pitch on the way. Breaking ball. Tillman a good one. Froze him at 75 and a 1-ball 1-strike count.
Well, that's one thing that Chris Tillman has had since the All-Star break. Command of all of his pitches. His curveball command especially. And consistent with that. He can go through stretches where he'll bounce it, but he's been able to throw it for strikes more frequently.
Just got back to the bag. And Manny Machado is playing short today. Talking to the second base umpire, Chris Siegel, saying, did he really get back to the bag?
Well, you like that, Manny. Not too many opportunities to play shortstop this year, but communicating with Tillman. A nice play. Nice pickoff attempt. Very close to getting Goins on the hand. But just shorten him up enough. I mean, this run could prove to be huge in this ball game.
1-1 delivery on the way. Ground ball to first. Davis will take it to the bag himself. 2 down. Goins moves over to third base. It's now time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use O's Couch Cam and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Two down. Goins on at third. I was going to say Goins diving back into the bag. We usually see those slides where you start too early and you never get to the bag when you're going into the bag, not coming back to it. He almost slid too soon going back to second on that pickoff move and made it closer than he would have liked. Donaldson a double, RBI and a run scored. And again late on the pitch and a 1-strike count with 2 down. Josh Donaldson 7 for 19 off Tillman. Big RBI chance right here. Yesterday in the ball game, Toronto kept chipping away with runs rather than exploding with them. 0-1 delivery on the way and down the line off the fist and foul.
A good fastball right there from Chris Tillman. Clevenger wants it inside. He got it in real good. Inch or two off the plate in there. Saw what happened in Donaldson's first at bat. Just left it on that inside corner with the heater and he hammered it down the left field line. So make sure you get it in there. And if you miss, so you might move their feet a little bit.
Chris trying to get out of a 3-game losing streak. Last 3 starts. Losses to Minnesota, KC, and Tampa Bay. Last win came against Oakland on August the 17th. And he's had 6 inning outings and a couple of those losses. Last time 7 runs, 8 hits, and 4 2/3 against Tampa Bay. Breaking ball in the dirt. Good stop. Clevenger holds Goings at third base. 2-2.
Real good stop by Clev. The second nice block on a curveball in the dirt. Drop to the knees, get the chest over the baseball, keeps it close. Pitchers love that when they trust that they can bounce some of their quality pitches with a runner at third base.
Two count. Looking over to third at Goins. Ground ball to second base. Scope bobbles it in. Oh, man. Donaldson did not run. That's a no-no. And for a player of his expertise and experience, nobody knows it better than him. He put his head down. He never saw the bobble. Not that he would have made it, but you got to try. Arrieta, 15 starts. Yikes. Look at the numbers. There have only been 2 other pitchers who had a 15-game span that he's now having. 12 wins, 100 strikeouts, and an ERA under 1. Both of them in 68, Bob Gibson and Louis Tion. Bartolo Colon, 25 straight scoreless innings. First pitcher over 42 to do it since Hoyt Wilhelm in 67. And David Ortiz at 39, 291 days, third oldest player to hit 30 home runs in a season. Big numbers.
Yeah, good stuff there. Nice to see the veteran guys still being very productive. And Jake Arrieta, I think everybody kind of realized once he figured something out, he was going to be good, and he has over there with the Cubs.
Little delay with something on the field. Well, you got 2 on the field now, and you don't want to see the other one. Oh, sorry. They dumped it. Sign came over. So, of course, a hand is given to Pilar. And the stadium worker who is going out charges back. Ryan Flaherty, observing the Sunday going-ons, will stand in. 1 for 3 in the series. And a shift on against Flaherty. And the pitch will be taken inside for a ball.
Well, Ryan's just got to force himself to go to the left field, left side of the field, wide open over there. He's been looking better at the plate. He's had some tough luck. Hold the hands inside, back the ball up. Take a look at Ryan Flaherty. Hits by direction, 11 to left field this year, 22 to center, 14 to right. So good distribution. Ryan Flaherty is at his best when he thinks the middle and the other way.
2-0 pitch on the way to him on the outside corner for a strike from Estrada. Flaherty, top of the order. Machado and Parra do appear in the 3rd inning. 3 runs, 5 hits, Toronto. 0s on the board for the Orioles. 2-1 delivery, and that's going to be outside. Estrada continues to be less than what he'd like to be in finding that strike zone. He's working behind hitters. 3 ball, 1 strike count. Gets that one in there. That's still his best pitch.
Yeah, nasty changeup. His go-to pitch. He isn't afraid to fall behind. He's had pinpoint command of the change.
Full count delivery. Flaherty takes it, and he's on. So that's the 3rd walk, 1 intentional. Surrendered, and the Orioles get the leadoff man on base. Register now for Longevity Foundation's Breathe Deep Baltimore, a 5K walk to raise funds and awareness for the lung cancer research, and also in memory of the late public relations director Monica Pence Barlow of the Orioles. It'll be on Saturday, October 3. You can register and get information at Orioles.com/longevity. Pitch will be on the outside corner for a strike. Manny Machado drew a walk his first time up in the ball game. Flaherty on at first base. Infield at double play depth. As we said, Estrada, fly ball pitcher. Off speed delivery with some movement on it is going to be outside. Both of these pitchers here have really had to work through the early part of this ball game.
We talked a little bit yesterday about the Orioles kind of challenging themselves. Scott Coolbaugh, the hitting coach, almost forcing these guys to have better at bats here down the stretch. That fine line of not taking their aggressiveness away. So he doesn't mind if they elevate the ball. If they swing at fastballs up out of the strike zone, he thinks, well, they've got a much better chance of squaring one up there than balls that bounce in the dirt out in front of the plate. And it's carrying over to this game. They're having some nice at-bats right now. 3 walks already against Estrada. Not expanding the zone too much and, making them work. And good things will generally happen when you put those type of at-bats together.
7th in hits. Manny Machado takes the pitch inside. Fans wanted a call on it and won't get it. And the count goes to 2-2. Manny's been up in the leaderboard in hits and runs all year. He's 9th in runs scored. And, of course, leads the Orioles in that department. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Flaherty at first, 1-step lead over there, and Estrada will miss outside with it. 3-2. He's kind of shaking his head out there on the mound as this 32-year-old tries to figure it out. He's got 3 runs to work with here, but obviously you live dangerously when you're issuing these free passes. Three-two delivery, runner not going. Popped up and back into the seats. Now the sun-drenched crowd here with the roof open in Toronto. We've mentioned that the sellouts for the rest of the year are already completed. And the air show continues going on over the harbor, so you'll hear jets, helicopters going by throughout the afternoon. 3-2 again. Machado waiting on it. Will foul another one back upstairs and hold the count of 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Boy, it isn't too often you see Manny Machado getting out in front, fooled a little bit there. The real good 3-2 change that Manny somehow stayed on, was able to reach out with those long arms and keep this at bat alive.
Three-two for the 3rd time. 8th pitch of the at bat. Gonna do it again. Fouls another one back. Estrada has piled him up here to get 6 outs. He's already over 50 pitches. That will make for a very short stay on the mound if that rate continues. Fans cheering the air show, and Manny's stepping out to let it go by. What are the helicopters doing a show here? Whoa. Hello. They're right. They see him literally right over the stadium. Wow. 3-2. Machado takes it and he's on. 4 walks, 1 intentional, 2 in the inning, and the Orioles have 2 on and nobody out.
Well, those are a couple real good at bats from Flaherty and Machado. That'll prompt a visit from pitching coach Pete Walker. Try to get him back in the zone. Certainly induce more chases if you start throwing that fastball over the plate, and then start being more aggressive on the changeup. But he does not have the fastball command and hasn't in this ball game yet.
2 very tough starts going here. Be sure to text Masson's word of the day, music, to 29292. Your chance to win an autographed prize pack from Masson, brought to you by Shindig Festival with Godsmack, Stone Temple Pilots, and more. September 19 in Baltimore. Ticketmaster.com. If you can't go there, you go to the Rex in Toronto if you like jazz or blues. Here's Parra, 2 on. Nobody out. Parra flied out first time up. Orioles down 3-0, but a big chance here. And again, comes in with the off-speed delivery for a strike. Parra way out in front of it.
Yeah, it is so slow. 79 miles an hour. He's thrown a couple in there. 77 with the changeup.
Parra's at 300 with runners in scoring position since coming to the Orioles. Good numbers for him. He's got a chance here. Flaherty at second, Manny Machado at first. That ball's going to be popped up shortstop side. Left field, Ben Revere will come in. Plenty of time to get under it. Parra retired, 1 away, runners back to first and second base. Getting outs in this game is teeth extraction so far for both pitchers. That'll bring up Adam Jones. Adam, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Adam, 252 with runners in scoring position on the year. Orioles looking for a big hit, trying to get this series win under their belt. They are 21-19-5 in series played this year. Toronto's won 4 consecutive series with their great month of August. Pitch to Jones, will be outside for a ball. Let's take a look at our Maryland Live Casino Inside the Numbers.
Now, most seasons with 25 or more home runs since 1954. Now, yesterday we talked about Adam Jones, 5 consecutive seasons with 25 or more home runs, but joining in a pretty elite group here. Eddie Murray, 10 seasons, 25 or more. Ripken, Powell, and Robinson. Adam Jones fitting in there nicely with some of the Oriole legends.
There may be the best fastball, at least location-wise, he's thrown. A 1-ball, 1-strike count on pitch number 57. Now Adam Jones trying to drive one, but tough to do where it was located. 1-ball, 1-strike count, outfield deep. The infield at double play depth. Right side actually fairly shallow in the infield. 1-1 pitch on the way. Pick off at first. Not in time. Colabello moving in behind. Deano Navarro has always had the reputation of a willingness to throw the baseball around, and accurately so. He's generally pretty good at that. He's got a quick arm.
Yeah, quick feet right there, throwing behind Manny Machado, and these little subtle plays in a ball game sometimes can change the outcome or even the momentum of a game. So a nice chance. So Manny Machado extending the lead. Colabello was slid off just to give Manny a kind of look over that right shoulder, and then a surprise attack on the back end, and Manny wisely able to get back there with the help of first base coach Wayne Kirby.
2-1 delivery on the way. Breaking ball. And the count goes to 3-1, and the murmurs continue in the full house here at the ballpark. Just trying to figure out what's going on with Estrada. Fans shouldn't feel bad, though, because so is he. The Orioles trying to take advantage of it. 3-ball, 1-strike count. Let's see what he comes with Adam Jones. He's been throwing the off-speed pitch in these situations because it's the one he can get in for a strike. 3-1 delivery on the way. 89, 3-2.
Came with the fastball. Adam Jones likes it up here. Get the arms extended, but just swinging through that.
Runners off first and second. 1 down. 3-2 delivery to Jones. 1, 2. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. Jays up 3-0. Made to try and speed up the game at the beginning of the year and try and boost offensive production. As you can see, not much has changed. Runs per game up a little bit. Strikeouts the same. Walks same. On base percentage same. And the game time's creeping up, almost back to 3 hours. Each month it's gone up a minute or so, and getting close to that 3:07 mark from last year. So that's where it stands right now.
Yeah, and you think in September games are going to get faster?
No.
Right, so that average will be probably right about the same.
Exactly. Yep. Orioles infield moves around behind Tillman as Bautista stands in. 33rd home run, 2 RBI shot, first inning. And the pitch taken down low for a ball. Bautista now with 3 lifetime home runs off Tillman as part of his 10 for 36 against the Orioles starter. 1-0 pitch. Taking. And looks like he's taking till he gets a strike. Bautista's now become the leading RBI guy for Toronto. He's moved ahead of Encarnacion to the 2 he picked up. Bautista's got 93. Encarnacion's got 92 runs batted in on the year. He is taking. No intention of swinging on any of those pitches. And the count's 3-0. With Encarnacion, you saw, waiting on deck. .30 delivery on the way. Bat on shoulder. It's a strike.
Bautista certainly does not mind taking his walks.
Leads the league, or tied now. Santana's tied him with Cleveland at 87. .3-1 delivery on the way. Bautista goes after it, fights it off. So Tillman comes back on him. Gets a 3-ball, 2-strike count. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Bautista's 3rd in runs scored. Donaldson is 1st. And a chopper foul.
Well, nice job getting back into this at bat here and mixing up his pitches pretty well. Good breaking ball there. Still haven't seen him really work the top of the zone effectively. Driving the ball downhill very well. He's had a strikeout where he threw a high fastball, but it could be a big time pitch for him.
And Bautista going after one to drive there at 94. He was looking fastball, just didn't connect. Count stays 3 balls and 2 strikes on Bautista. Toronto team coming in with all those big offensive numbers, leading in many cases not only the American League but Major League Baseball, and will ultimately draw the walk. So he's got the lead back. First walk surrendered by Tillman. The O's upcoming schedule brought to you by Mile One Automotive, offering you 20 convenient locations throughout the Baltimore area. Visit them in store or online at mile1.com.
Now Orioles continue the road trip. Head on into New York, where they'll have an afternoon game tomorrow, and then a couple night games on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Take a look at that rotation in a minute. Encarnacion up, base hit, his first time up. Orioles are going to be starting Chen, Gausman, and Jimenez against the Yankees. Michael Pineda, Masahiro Tanaka in the first 2 games, and probably CC Sabathia Game 3. But the Yankees have not made that official yet. Sabathia's been throwing some side games. Encarnacion waiting, and the pitch will be taken up high. Leadoff man on each of the 3 innings for the Jays against Tillman as that problem continues. Encarnacion getting that single in the first, his first hit in the series. He is now 1 for 7. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery. Goes after it to right field, right at Parra. 1 down. Our PNC minor league report.
Well, let's talk about the Norfolk Tides here. Orioles AAA affiliate, 77-65 record. They've got a 2-game lead over the Gwinnett Braves, and there are only 2 games to go. Magic number 1 to clinch. That'll be the first time since 2005. Today they're going to be playing Durham. Tyler Wilson will be making the start for the Tides, and if for some strange reason they tie with Gwinnett, it'll be a 1-game playoff.
At Gwinnett, right?
Yeah.
So good luck to the Tides and Ron Johnson. Inside, Tulowitzki backing off. Strikeout victim, his first time up. Bautista on at first base, one away. Chris Tillman, 2, piling up the pitches, passing that 50 mark. Bautista, not a big lead. Still in the dirt portion over there at first. And that'll be foul back. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Talking about the Jays, they are 4th in average, but 1st in runs, home runs, on base percentage, and walks. They have done it all offensively this season and hope to continue it, and apparently are going to need to. Just a game and a half separating the Yankees and Toronto. 1-1 delivery. Lost speed breaking ball that time that he got way up on top of, and a 1 ball 2 strike count.
A good fastball away and then off speed in. Tulowitzki's been a little quick in there. Been exposed on a couple changeups inside.
With Toronto, Tulowitzki hitting .233, 33rd game he's played. 10 of the hits have been for extra bases. 1-2 the count. Tillman pitching a very slow pace here in the ball game today. Part of that because there have been, here in the first 3 innings, a leadoff man on base. One-two delivery on the way up high. Clevenger up to get it. 2-2.
Yeah, Clevenger wanted that fastball up high. Maybe not that high. Clev had to make a nice play to come down with that. Almost like a rebound in the NBA, but need that fastball just above the strike zone. Make it enticing enough for these hitters to be aggressive on it.
There she blows. Tulowitzki to left field at the wall, and goodbye, home run.
Chris Tillman to the well one too many times with that inside changeup to the right-handed hitters. Tulowitzki barreled it up. He made his in-at-bat adjustment. You see the change staying on that inner third. It better be a good one. Not a terrible location, but almost like he was looking for it. 2-run shot. And Toronto takes a 5-0 lead.
Number 5 for Tulowitzki. Leadoff walk to Bautista. Tillman pays for. And a swing and a miss and a pitch away to Colabello. 17 home runs have now been given up by Tillman, and 15 of those have been hit by right-handers. 0-1 count, 1 down. Colabello will take the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Didn't think so. Meanders back, talking to Mike Everett on the way. Colabello, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Tillman a walk, 2 Ks. Estrada, 2 strikeouts, 4 walks, 1 intentional. 0-2 delivery. And that one is going to miss inside. So the Blue Jays again using the long ball. 2 home runs in this ball game. They had the homer from Bautista in the ball game yesterday that put them on top early. And a wild cut. Clevenger will put the tag on, and Tillman will get strikeout number 3.
Threw this changeup away. They better start putting it out there. These guys looking in. Good pitch. Down in the bottom of the zone. Colabello a little over aggressive, trying to protect that outside corner. And we'll pick up the second out.
That'll bring Navarro up. Comebacker his last time to the plate doing the catching. Diana Navarro, long time in pro baseball, out of Venezuela. Still only 31 years old, but his career goes all the way back to 2001. He's moved around. Swing and a miss. Strong arm catcher whose major league batting average, respectable 255.
I always value with a switch hitter, especially somebody that can handle a rotation.
Tillman's pitch to him. That'll be foul back. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Chris Tillman did not give up a home run in that last ball game to Tampa Bay. But he has been bothered by it on and off all season in the homer department. 2 in this one, and that's going to be a base hit. Pyra comes over to get it. Navarro keeps the inning going with a single here in the bottom half of the third. Toronto continues not only to put the ball in play, but to get some base runners out of it.
Yeah, beating the shift right there. Nice attempt by Ryan Flaherty.
A walk, a homer, a single in the inning for Toronto. 2 down. Goings up. He had a base hit his last time up. He's 3 for 7 in the series. Shift stays on with the Orioles' Flaherty at third base in, protecting against a potential bunt, as Goings would certainly lay one down if you moved everybody over. He'll pop that one up towards left field. Nolan Reimold coming and will make the catch. So that'll do it, but a couple of runs in the inning. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors. Runner left on base. Tulowitzki, the 2 RBI homer. Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com and by visitannapolis.org. Find the Chesapeake experience at visitannapolis.org. Little urban water right there around the ballpark. Hope you're having a great holiday weekend. Labor Day tomorrow. Day game in New York. Celebrating Labor Day. We'll be on the air tomorrow. 12:30 O's Extra. 1 o'clock for the ball game with Wei-Yin Chen, Michael Pineda, the scheduled starters in that one. We'll see what the standings look like each and every day as the Yankees try and overtake Toronto and the Orioles try and overtake 5 other ball clubs for a wild card spot. Estrada, he hasn't given up a hit despite the struggles. 4 walks, 1 intentional, couple of strikeouts. Chris Davis leads it off against him, breaking ball inside. Chris drew that intentional pass in the first inning, and then Jonathan Scope came up with a couple on and struck out. And the pitch will be outside. Again, count goes to 2-0. Estrada again working behind hitters.
That seems like every hitter falling behind.
2-0 delivery on the way to Chris. That ball in the air, not deep, behind second base. With the shift on, played by Tulowitzki. And one away. For every Orioles walk, Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield contributes $50 to the March of Dimes. 328 walks, $16,400. Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield encourages each of us to take that first step towards a healthier and more active lifestyle. Jonathan Scope, strike on the outside corner. Scope, a strikeout victim, his first time up. Orioles are 6-8 against Toronto this year. They are 3-5 here at Rogers Center. They'll meet again at the end of the season for one final series, and could be very interesting because the final week of the year for the Orioles, Toronto will be in town for four games, and then the Orioles finish up against the Yankees in a 3-game set. Could be meaningful for the Orioles. Probably will be meaningful for both the Yankees and Toronto.
Yeah, certainly for both of those teams. Buck Showalter and the O's hoping that last week can have an impact on their season.
1 ball, 2 strike count to Jonathan Scope. Paredes waiting on deck. Right-handers 1-2 delivery. 3 strikeouts.
Gets ahead and then starts expanding the zone, and Jonathan Scope helping him out there. High fastball riding up about a foot out of the zone. Scope can't hold up.
So 2 away. Paredes slide out to right field, his first time up. Rips it into the seats, foul. Brady still with some very good on the season numbers, but certainly has fallen off offensively post All-Star compared to pre. And a strike on the inside corner. So Estrada gets ahead of a hitter as it's 0-2. Paredes starting out the month of September with 3 hits, 6 at bats. Framed by Navarro, does not get the call. 1-2.
We talked about some of Estrada's numbers. Opponents hit so low against him.
Got him. That's 4 strikeouts, 2 in the inning. He retires the side in order for the second time in the ball game. Blue Jays on top 5-0. It's been a cakewalk for the Royals. The Twins never had enough juice to stay with them. The Tigers got old, and the Indians and the White Sox proved that preseason predictions are worthless. Royals have been in first place since June 8th. Paul Hoynes from the Northeast Ohio Media Group with the Plain Dealer. And another Sunday column from NPR. According to the NCAA, only a tiny percentage of high school athletes actually go on to pro. Roughly 1 in 168 high school baseball players will get just drafted, much less play. And just 1 in 2,451 play high school basketball will be drafted by an NBA team. That health news from NPR was about the predilection of parents to have their kids playing only one sport, and how that deprives them of a chance to grow both as people and as athletes in doing so, where the chances of making money out of playing sports is not very good.
Right. You know, that's something, a topic that's been really harped on here the last 10 years or so. Too much specializing in one sport, especially at the youth age. And puts a lot of pressure on a kid and really doesn't let them or allow them to grow up and enjoy, you know, all the sports, because you just never know. They might flourish in something else and might not just be, you know, playing baseball all year round. You learn so much as an athlete, and you mentioned it, just how to deal with other people and work together as a team in a different atmosphere.
And not get tired of a game. I mean, I see kids who are playing so much of a particular sport that they get tired of it. It's year round. They're with the same people doing the same thing day in, day out. And I don't know. I just think that's a problem area, I think, for parents. 1-2 delivery on the way. That'll be fouled back.
Well, I think most parents can kind of agree that, you know, when baseball season was over, you go in and you grab the football.
Yeah.
And you throw the glove in the closet, and then football gets thrown away. You start dribbling a basketball around, you know, and it's just that type of cycle.
And it remained a lot more fun for kids. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Pilar grounded out his first time up. Bouncer. Pilar would like to have a baseball back. In the ball game yesterday, David Price won his 100th game. Pilar got the final out and threw the ball to a fan in the center field bleachers without realizing Price wanted it as a memento of his 100th win. He just turned around and threw it up into the seats. 2 ball, 2 strike delivery on the way. Hit hard and foul. David Price, the winner of the ball game yesterday, now 156 is his record in his career, and picked up the victory against the Orioles, 8-4 against the O's. 2 ball, 2 strike count on Pilar. Revere and Donaldson to follow. Whoa. You may want that one back too. Goodbye, home run. And Buck has seen enough, even before Pilar touches home plate. So Tillman, 3-homer ball game against him, and they have all really been drilled. Steve Johnson will be coming out of the bullpen, and for Tillman, 4 games against the Jays this year, all of which he would basically like to forget.
This was the last at bat. Pilar jumping on a fastball, ended up in the middle of the plate. And Toronto offense exploded for 3 long balls against Tillman in this game, and he has not figured them out, only lasting 3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. Just walked 1 batter, and now it's time for a little relief. For your car too, visit Jiffy Lube for regular oil changes and help prevent damage and wear to your engine. Jiffy Lube, drive in today.
So Ben Revere will stand in. Johnson delivers to him in there for a strike.
We'll take a look at Steve Johnson's pitch arsenal. The fastball 81% of the time. The invisible when it's on. The breaking ball has a slow curve and the change. A large earned run average. The one game he pitched here since being recently called up. He's touched up a little bit, but outstanding numbers in AAA Norfolk this year. And really earning his opportunity to show what he can do in September.
0-2 count on Revere. He's had a single and is grounded out. Bautista, Tulowitzki, and Pilar with the home runs. 3 of them off Tillman. First game this year in which Tillman has surrendered 3 home runs. He has given up as many as 4. That was against the Nationals. 0-2 delivery on the way, and Revere will take the fastball up high. So a 1 ball, 2 strike count. And we were talking about players the Orioles not only have here to help, but that they want to take a look at. Here's one of them.
Yeah, a lot of question marks going into the offseason.
Big cut on a heater right there to get him.
Good fastball from Steve Johnson. Fastball location huge for him. Moving it to the top of the zone. And Revere can't get the hands back up. Has a little hitch. See the hands drop down by the knee. Better be able to get him back on top if you want to catch up to a high fastball. Can't there.
Steve just turned 28 years old at the major league level. As Mike said, only 1 appearance this year. 5-1 record in the majors. This is his 23rd major league ball game. And has thrown under 60 innings of major league work. Donaldson a double, RBI, and he is grounded out. Infield shifted around the other way on the right-hander. 0-1 pitch to him, and a ride inside and off the glove of Clevenger. They have caught a little piece of Mike Everett, home plate umpire, at the time. Tillman will watch. Tough outing. Never had really an easy inning. Leadoff men on in all 4 innings. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery. That one too is going to ride up and in. Clevenger wants to go out and have a word here. Something he's not liking.
Clevenger's caught Johnson a number of times, all year. So if he can see something mechanically and put a stop to it or make an adjustment, certainly help Steve Johnson's cause as he has to go through the heart of this lineup.
Two ball, 1 strike count. Josh Donaldson with 1 down. 6 runs, 8 hits for the Jays. And Johnson up and in. Well, the Baltimore battery's back together again. This is just the 2nd time that Baltimore-born players have formed the all-Baltimore battery in Orioles history. The only other time was these 2, September of 2013. Steve Johnson, Clevenger appeared together against Tampa Bay. They appear again here today. A Baltimore-bred battery. And Clevenger, as we said, just the 5th time he's caught, and only the 2nd time out this season for Steve Johnson for the Orioles. 3 ball, 2 strike count. And another one that'll be foul back.
Steve Johnson attended high school St. Paul's, and Clevenger went to Mount St. Joe's, famous school. Of course, Mark Teixeira came out of there. He,
of course, of the Yankees, who's on the DL. The Orioles headed there after the game today. 3-2 is going to come again. Johnson's delivery to him is outside. So Donaldson is on with a free pass, one away. Next Sunday's game at Oriole Park against the Royals moved from a 1:35 game to an 8:05 start. It'll be an ESPN nationally broadcast game. Catch the Birds under the lights, rematch of the ALCS last year. Tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. That's next Sunday, now a night game. Bautista has scored twice. First inning, 2-run homer. Third inning, a walk. Came in again on Tulowitzki's homer. And it is taken for a ball. Donaldson at first base. Davis holding the bag on him. And that will be outside. Steve this year in work at AAA. 4-1, 2.3 ERA. 32 games, 3 starts with the Tides this season. Down to third. Flaherty, Scope, relay, and they get the double play. So a run in on a hit, no errors, nobody left. The home run by Pilar, his 10th of the year, increases the lead to 6-0 for Toronto. Maryland University College, our moment in history. Two great pitchers, 1912 on this day. Smokey Joe Woods, the Red Sox, Walter Johnson, Senators. 1-0 win for Woods. 30th win of the year. That season he would win 34 ball games. And in 1995, this is the date when Cal broke Lou Gehrig's Iron Man mark, 21-31. Let the celebration begin at Camden Yards.
Pretty special day in Orioles history. Maybe one of the most memorable days, obviously for Orioles, but in baseball history in general.
Oh yeah, and the Orioles celebrating that during the last short homestand with Cal there. Pitch taken down low for a ball. Steve Clevenger, Raimel Flaherty, and Clevenger grounded out his first time up. And will ground out his second time up. Colabello gets it at first base, one away. Bidding closes tonight on the official Orioles Maryland license plates numbered 2130 and 2131. Celebrating the 20th anniversary of that historic moment. You can join in the Ironman memories and help support Orioles Charitable Foundation. The bidding closes tonight at 10. Go to Orioles.com/2131 and place your bids. Nolan Raimo flied out his first time up. Orioles still after their first hit. And the pitch is in there for a strike. If you watched Estrada pitching and weren't looking at the numbers on the board, you'd say, wow, he's got to be struggling. And he is in his own way. But it's not about hits. It's been the control of the 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. The only thing that may get him out of the game is the pitch count.
Yeah. The Orioles worked him, didn't have his command, struggled through the first 3 innings.
That's where that pitch has been much of the day, up high. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Estrada with the 11-8 record, 3.16 ERA. Opponents hitting .210 against him, which is the 2nd lowest batting average in the league. 1-2 pitch on the way. That'll go towards the hole. Backhanded to Lewitsky. It's up to the official score. It's got to be a hit.
Yeah. Tulowitzki ranging over in the hole right there. And Nolan Reimold picking up the first hit of the afternoon for the Orioles. And Tulowitzki almost his patented running throw here. He's lining up to make it, but can't get the handle on the exchange.
And with Reimold's speed, don't think he would have had him anyway. So there's the Orioles' first hit. Infield single for Reimold. 4 1/3 of no-hit baseball this time for Estrada, after 7 innings of no-hit baseball the last time he faced the Orioles. That's just a foul ball for a strike. Flaherty got around on it. He drew a walk his first time up. Manny Machado at the top of the order will be waiting on deck. Rangers playing at the Angels again today. 2 teams battling to try and find a postseason spot. Angels after a wild card spot. Swing and a miss. And a pitch up high. Texas and Houston still going to do some noontime stand-ups at the OK Corral. Houston's lead just 2 over Texas. Angels, on the other hand, are 5.5 out. 0-2, 1 away. Infield fully shifted on Flaherty. They did that when he got the 2 strikes. And it stays at 2 strikes on that foul ball.
So Estrada's been working with a cutter that he introduced to his repertoire last season, and that's a big reason. Now he's got the exceptional changeup. Why he's had so much success against lefties. He's able to cut it inside at times and then work that changeup like he did there, down and away, open up that outside corner. He's had incredible numbers against both lefties and the righties. The lefties only hitting .208. Righties just .211 this year.
Runner off first, 1-2. Fouled it off. We were talking before the game today. The National League is, I mean, anything can happen, but pretty well set for the postseason. Cardinals are going to win the most games. The Mets and Dodgers should win their divisions. Pittsburgh and Chicago should be the 2 wild card teams. Right now, the Cardinals would play the wild card team, and the Mets would play the Dodgers in the first round. Always subject to change, but not likely. 1-2 delivery in the air, right field deep. Bautista just turns around and goodbye home run into the second deck. Ryan Flaherty with a big shot and a couple of RBIs to make it a 6-2 game.
There you go. Orioles on the board after that infield single by Reimold. And Flaherty catching up to the high fastball. His 7th home run of the year.
That was a majestic shot. Way up in the air. And for Denise Miles, our Maryland lottery contestant, $500. So Ryan Flaherty makes it a 6-2 ball game. A long home run.
Estrada working him upstairs the hole at bat, and finally Flaherty able to get to it. And crushes one, staying behind the high heater.
Strata's pitch will be up high for Flaherty. First home run he's had against Toronto this year, but he's had 8 in his career against the Blue Jays, and 4 of them have been here in this ballpark. That one was up, got under it. Battle with the sun. Bautista's there to put it away, and Manny Machado retired for the second out. Manny, first out, he's had a couple of walks in the game as well.
Now Strata is susceptible to the long ball. The Orioles have to continue to work him as his pitch count mounts, and maybe another 2-run shot, 3-run shot in the books for the Orioles. Given up 19 home runs or 18 home runs this year, 10 to lefties, 8 to righties.
You get some people on, you can get them done in a hurry. Pyra pops it up, shortstop. Tulowitzki over to put it away. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, nobody left. Ryan Flaherty providing the firepower. That's why he's called Flash. And Maryland Fire State Firemen's Association. Email mdfirevolunteer@gmail.com to volunteer with your local fire rescue and EMS, and by your local Mercedes dealership. Busy time here downtown Toronto with the Labor Day weekend crowd here and throughout the city. Ryan Flaherty putting the Orioles on the board to make it a 6-2 game after that infield hit by Reimold. So Steve Johnson now try and hold Toronto where they are. And Canaccio with a single, and he is flied out. Tulowitzki, Colabello due up here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. 6-8-1 Toronto, 2-2-0 for the Orioles. Infield plays to pull, and he does that time, and it's foul.
Well, Buck Showalter would love for Steve Johnson to eat up some innings, continue to put some zeros on the board, give the bullpen a little bit of a rest as they head into New York. And of course, Kansas City coming into town when the Orioles head back home, so to be fully rested in the bullpen.
Troy Hawkins in the bullpen. With the struggles Estrada's had, he got through 5, 4-run lead. Yankees leading the Rays. They're in the 6th in their ball game, 4-3 in New York. Foul ball. The Indians, of course, battling for a wild card spot. They're in Detroit. They lead 3-0 this afternoon in their ball game. So many clubs in the American League hunting for a wild card spot, and in the National League, really none. Washington 7.5 out. Giants 8 out of a wild card, trying to catch Pittsburgh or Chicago. 1-2 delivery on the way, and a ground ball into the shift. Manny Machado.
Manny's looked good in his starts over at shortstop. Orioles a little reluctant to move him over there, but some extended time on the disabled list got them thinking, hey, what if J.J. Hardy misses more time in the next 2 years? We'll start getting Manny Machado ready, so sliding over to short and looking pretty comfortable.
There's J.J. Hardy. We'll see him back in the lineup Tuesday. Troy Tulowitzki. Home run and a strikeout. 2 RBI shot came in the 3rd inning. Five of the 6 runs accounted for have come on the 3 home runs Toronto's hit. The other one, Donaldson's RBI doubled. 0-1 pitch, foul back. And an 0-2 count. Toronto going after their 78th win of the season. Orioles are 65-70. They have lost already more games this year than last year. 0-2 count, 1 down. And that's there. Great location on the corner. Tulowitzki not sure about that, but Johnson's got his 2nd strikeout.
He's establishing that fastball, that's for sure. 3 pitches here and gotten the fastball away 90 miles an hour. Tulowitzki swinging through the last one. Maybe looking for something else.
Tulowitzki out of there, and there are 2 down. Colabello coming up. He struck out twice. Here's Colabello on a bouncer. Will take it. 1-0 on the Toronto first baseman. One-0 delivery. Fastball's in there for a strike. The Orioles, of course, have struggled on the road this year. We talked about it all year long, and their 27-43 mark. The struggles are ongoing. They've lost 9 of their last 11 road games and have hit 194 in those 11 games, averaging only 3.3 runs a game. It's just one of those anomalies in any given year. Hard to explain, especially with this offense that's been so productive. 1-1 strike delivery on the way, and will just miss off the inside corner. Count goes to 2-1.
There have been a lot of things to point out as far as inconsistencies go for this Orioles team. Offense certainly one of them. They have had stretches where they are the best offense in the game. You know, they just are unbeatable. Quality at bats, there's power throughout the lineup, but then it just disappears. And I don't know that really seen that. I think most good offenses hope for 1 or 2 guys to continue to keep the offense heads above water. But this group, it seems like when they go bad, everybody kind of scuffles at the same time.
2-1 delivery on the way is a base hit. Colabello taking one the other way, gets his 4th hit in this series. He's had 4 hits and 7 at bats against the Orioles in this 3-game set. First hit off Johnson since coming on, getting the side out in the 4th inning. This one comes with 2 down. Toronto catcher Deano Navarro, a base hit, and he is grounded out. Shift will be employed against Navarro. Jonathan Scope way out there in right field. A bouncer, good stop. Clevenger puts that one in the webbing and holds the runner at first base.
Well, we've seen him drop to his knees, but also the ability to reach out there. And as catchers gain more experience, they're able to recognize the pitches that they can reach out and make plays on instead of dropping to the knees and completely blocking the ball.
1-0 delivery. Clevenger not new to working behind the plate. He is coming into this year. He'd been 82 times in a lineup as a catcher, including 25 last year. 2012 caught 51 ball games. So he's worked behind the plate a number of times. Orioles just have not had the need for him to put on the equipment. When Matt Wieters had been healthy coming back, and of course Caleb Joseph has done a great job doing a majority of the catching this year. Throw over, Colabello back to the bag. 2-0 count, 2 down.
Yeah, a couple years ago, as the depth chart kind of went, Clevenger was number 2 behind Wieters, making the team out of spring training. But then Caleb's development kind of shot up. Got noticed, and an opportunity was given to Caleb, and he ran with it.
That's over the bag, fair ball. It'll roll into the corner. Everybody's scurrying. I think it was touched by a fan. No. Runner will stop at third on the relay throw that comes all the way through. So Navarro gets a sharp double right over the bag, sending Colabello to third base.
Got everybody pulled over on the right side of the field, and he finds a way to beat it right down the first base line. Kicks around a little bit, gets hung up. Navarro able to get to second. Colabello holding up at third base.
Well, here's a very big at bat coming up. We're in the 5th inning of the ball game. 4-run difference. 2 down and 2 in scoring position for Goins. Brian Mattis for the Orioles, and Bud Showalter is on his way out. Goins, the left-hander, one of only 2 in the lineup. And he signals for Brian Mattis. So Johnson out of the ball game. 2 on, 2 down. Jay's up.
Low 90s with the heater. The breaking ball has a big curve 31% of the time, and the straight change 14% usage there. 47 games this season, 1-3 record with a 2.27 earned run average, 51 strikeouts, 19 walks, holding opponents down to just a 197 batting average. Dominating the lefties this year, just a 145 clip. He is a fly ball pitcher. 66% of his outs in the air. Merited runners stranded, 69%, 20 of 29 for Mattis. He has been on his game, though, recently. He's 4 earned runs over his last 30 outings.
So 2 down, 2 in scoring position. Goings a base hit and he is flied out. He is 3 for 4 against Mattis, but only .217 this year against left-handers. And the pitch will be inside to him for a ball. A big situation here in the 5th inning. 1-0 count, 2 down, 10 hits on the board for Toronto. 2 in this inning, coming with 2 outs. Delivery to him. Goings rips it, but it's foul. Nice snag.
Goings putting together some really good at bats. We talked about that 12-game hit streak and some of the adjustments he's made here last couple months. When their second baseman went down with the left shoulder injury, he has stepped in, and not only has he done a great job defensively, but some of the adjustments offensively will make this Blue Jays team kind of turn and look again, and it looks like there may be competition. Devin Travis, a rookie second baseman, was putting up some great numbers, but Goins playing so good. He, when they start looking in the postseason, he might be the frontline infielder.
Yeah, he's gotten it done. Certainly his games against the Orioles have helped overall for him. He's .333 against the Orioles coming into the game. He's had 4 RBIs this year against the O's. Ryan Mattis trying to get him out. Colabello on at third base. Navarro at second. Swing and a miss. Reared back at 91. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
You see it good up there. If you're a little in between, you're not going to be able to catch up. 91 riding through the top of the zone. Good second strike.
Two. Mattis's delivery is going to be fouled off. Just got enough. Ryan locating, but going somehow find a way to foul that off. Count stays 2-2.
He's quietly getting himself ready to hit up there. So seeing the ball very well, trusting the hands. Looks like the bat's a little bit quicker. Taking a little bit of his start away, and he rests the bat on his back shoulder. And just lifts it as the pitcher goes into his delivery. He used to start with his hands up high. It just caused for too much anxiety up there in the box. Here, much quieter.
2-2 delivery on the way. Goings takes it and he's gone. Brian Mattis gets the job done. Comes on and gets the strikeout. No runs on 2 hits, no errors. 2 left in scoring position.
Set. Batista adds an early lead as the Blue Jays once again get to Chris Tillman. Well, Tulowitzki, he adds on as well, picking up his 5th home run as a Blue Jay. But Ryan Flaherty catches up to the high fastball to get the Orioles on the board after Reimhold picked up a single to break up the no-hitter. Remember, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And here we are in the top of the 6th, and the Blue Jays that 6-2 lead. LaTroy Hawkins coming in now for the Blue Jays. A veteran right-hander used that fastball 78% of the time, the breaking ball 14%, and the change as well. 2.67 earned run average for Hawkins. 33 2/3 innings work, has picked up 31 punch-outs and only 6 walks on the year. Opponent's hitting 280. Righties up to 314. Lefties at 242, and believe it or not, he can still rush it up there into the mid-90s with the fastball. A lot of experience on the bump here. Came over with Tulowitzki.
Oldest pitcher in the majors, LaTroy Hawkins. Orioles well within striking distance here as we go to the 6th inning. And as you saw in those numbers, while Hawkins hasn't given up runs, certainly has given up hits since joining Toronto. 319 batting average against him, but only 1 run in 11 1/3 innings with the Blue Jays. Adam Jones 0 for 2 in the game. Hawkins' pitch will be in there for a strike. He has struck out, get into a double play. Jones, Davis, and Jonathan Scope due up for the Orioles here in the 6th. Adam 0 for 2 against him. Add a hit to it. Orioles get another leadoff man on. So a leadoff single here in the 6th inning. Adam Jones, the base hit. Talked about LaTroy Hawkins, a senior member of Major League Baseball.
Yeah, the Blue Jays can brag of having the youngest and oldest pitchers in the major leagues. Roberto Osuna, just 20 years old in 211 days. LaTroy Hawkins, 42 years old, 259 days. Osuna was 10 weeks old when Hawkins threw his first big league pitch. And evidently these two have gotten along very well. Hawkins obviously trying to teach Osuna the ropes.
Chris Davis. I'm sure Hawkins enjoys being reminded of that on a daily basis by his teammates and media.
Yeah.
And Chris Davis at the plate. The Orioles are to chip away or more. 0 for 1 against Hawkins. Davis will foul that one back. 1 ball, 1 strike count. An intentional pass first inning, popped out in the 4th inning. Orioles did not get a hit in the game till 1 out in the 5th. Single by Reimhold, infield variety, and Flaherty followed with a 2-run homer to put him on the board. Well, the Jays got 3 in the 1st inning. 2-run homer Bautista, RBI double by Donaldson. Tulowitzki's had a 2-run homer, and Pilar's had a solo shot. Orioles started Chris Tillman out of there after 3+ innings. 6 runs, 8 hits. Strada struggled but gave up, as you saw, the 2 runs on 2 hits in 5 innings. But a lot of pitches and all over the place around the strike zone. 2-1 delivery on the way. That'll be foul back. 2 ball, 2 strike count. Chris, 5 home runs against this Toronto team this year. Hitting 300+ against them. Boy, the Orioles need it right now.
Yeah, Hawkins throws another changeup up there. They have number 6. Couple mistakes that Davis have just missed.
Two delivery to him. Davis will pop that one up short. Tulowitzki. Jones back to first. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Orioles may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. Gary Thorne, Mike Borda, great to have you join us. Thanks for being part of the Labor Day weekend with us here. Toronto tomorrow, New York the site, Labor Day day game, 12:30 O's extra, 1 o'clock for the ball game. Jonathan Scope, couple of strikeouts. Jones off first. CC Sabathia threw again today in New York. Said he felt fine. So right now Joe Girardi says he is penciled in to be the starter on Wednesday against the Orioles and Ubaldo Jimenez. Wei-Yin Chen opens it up. Michael Pineda tomorrow afternoon. Kevin Gausman, Masahiro Tanaka in the night game on Tuesday. And then Jimenez and probably Sabathia on Wednesday night. 0-1 count. Hawkins got a tailing pitch that time. Down and away, 0-2.
He doesn't really go to his off-speed pitches much anymore, but still the good fastball command. And here a two-seam version, holding the good velocity at 93 miles an hour. So we'll mix up that four-seamer and the two-seamer. A couple change-ups to Chris Davis.
Oh-2 delivery on the way. Reached for and popped up. Probably second base. Going's there. And he's got it. 2 down. So Hawkins gets a couple of outs after the leadoff single by Jones. Orioles DH Paredes has flied out and struck out. He'll come on and try and keep this 6th inning alive for the Orioles. With this appearance now, Hawkins has been in 1,037 games, most among active and 10th most all time. 2 away. Donaldson in even with a bag at third. Paredes will take the pitch inside for a ball.
It says a lot about LaTroy Hawkins. Not only as you see Chaz Rowe warming up in the Orioles bullpen, be able to maintain that pitching ability at a high level for so long, but just to keep his body healthy and durable enough.
Foul tipped. 1-1. Hawkins against the Orioles. This is his 33rd game. 10 of those were as a starter. He has a 3-9 record lifetime against the Orioles, 3 for 4 in saves, but a 6.96 earned run average against Baltimore for LaTroy Hawkins. Paredes with a 1-ball 1-strike count. Jones at first. That'll be up high. 93. Toronto with a 6-2 lead in the ball game, out hitting the Orioles 10-3. The O's try and get back into this thing here in the 6th inning with Flaherty's home run accounting for their 2. And that will be down low. Base runners needed. A 3-ball 1-strike count.
Yeah, still a great opportunity here for the Orioles to come back in this ball game. It wasn't too long ago, just a couple days, where the Orioles offense exploded. Felt like they were going to go on a nice little offensive tear.
That'll go to left field. Ben Revere going back at the wall. Revere up. Oh, bounces off the top. That's going to get a run in. Into second base. A double and an RBI. Paredes scoring ahead of him. Adam Jones on the fly with 2 down, and the Orioles have cut the lead to 6-3.
Nice piece of hitting by Paredes, driving the ball the other way, picking up his 17th double. Adam Jones on his horse here. Look at this swing, letting that fastball travel, and he gets it good. Takes a look at it as well. Adam Jones off and running. A nice attempt there by Revere as he plasters up against that left field wall, but can't come down with the baseball.
Paredes gets his 42nd RBI on the Orioles' 4th hit. And Hawkins' pitch will be taken down low by Clevenger. Steve Clevenger has grounded out twice. The Orioles back in this ball game after they had fallen behind by that 6-0 score. They've scored the last 3. 1-0 count. And that'll be fouled off the other way. Count will stay at 1-1 to Clevenger.
I think one thing that all the teams are going to be facing here in September is nobody's going to roll over. Doesn't matter if you jump out to an early lead. You got to continue to play, execute your pitches, play the sound baseball. And the Orioles quietly getting themselves back into this game when it just seemed like Toronto was not going to let up. And the Orioles could have very easily thrown some at bats away, but here, this is going to rejuvenate this team, putting this big run on the board. We have the long ball capability, especially here in this ballpark.
Hawkins with a 2-ball, 1-strike count. Orioles 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. Those chances came in the first and third innings. Runner goes. No play. Stolen base. Hawkins very slow to come to the plate, and a big lead for Paredes, so he'll pick up the stolen base.
A good chance there. Typically, you say, all right, 2 outs, you're already in scoring position, but Hawkins real slow. Nobody keeping him close. Easy stolen base there. Well, you never know. Something kicks away. Even a base hit to an outfielder won't be a play at the plate.
4 out of 7 in stolen bases. There are 2 down, 3-ball, 1-strike count. Clevenger. Important potential run. Pitch will be up, and he walked him. So Hawkins not getting it done. Coming on for Estrada, who did not give Toronto the innings they'd hoped for, working only 5. So they've had to go to maybe the one soft spot they have, and that's the middle of this bullpen. They get to the end of it, they're in pretty good shape, but if a pitcher comes out after 5, that 6th inning going into the 7th can be tough for Toronto to cover.
A lot of teams a little soft there. They need some way to bridge that gap between the short outing of a starter and the back end of a bullpen.
Well, Nolan Rimo called up, joining the Orioles today, and here he is in a key situation. He represents the potential tying run in this game. He has singled, scored, and flied out. Pitch in the dirt. Good stop made by Navarro. That saved a run. That one brought up some dust.
Yeah, did it kind of casually too, didn't he? Tough little backhand pick there from Navarro.
Reimold 5 for 21 this year. Runners in scoring position. Not a lot of chances for the Orioles. Paredes, the doubles now at third. Clevenger the walk at first. 1-0 delivery to him. Slowly hit. Donaldson will go to second and will get the force out. So the Orioles will pick up a run on 2 hits, no errors. 2 are left on base. The Orioles, though, have had another one off at 6-3 Jays.
Jimmy Paredes letting a Hawkins fastball travel, and he squares it up, double off the wall. Nice attempt by Revere. His 42nd RBI of the season gets the O's a little bit closer.
So a 6-3 Jays lead. Charge of the pen now. Hold Toronto. Give the Orioles offense more chances to get back to a tie or better.
Chaz Rowe, he's got to be the guy to put the zeros up. Fastball 68% of the time. Nice loose arm from Chaz Rowe. He can rush it up there in the mid-90s. Nice two-seam movement. Has the hard slider as well. 2.95 earned run average. 36 punch-outs and 36 2/3 innings of work. Holding opponents to a 255 batting average. The righties, 213 off Rowe.
Brian Mattis, third of an inning, got the strikeout. Steve Johnson, an inning and 2/3. No runs, 2 hits, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. All the runs scored against the starter Tillman. 6 runs, 8 hits, 3+ innings. Here's Pilar. One of those runs, his homer in the 4th. Showed bunt. Does the 360 spinorama. Stayed away from it on a 1-0 count.
That's pretty impressive. It was a full 360. He came all the way back.
All the way back. On the balls of his feet, we might add. But we won't. Kevin Pilar, 1-0. Another one. Inside. Doesn't take much to rev up the crowd in light of the history of this.
No, it really
that's just a couple of pitches inside. The last thing that Rowe wants to do is hit anybody here. Here's the 2-0 delivery on the way. That 2 will be inside. And the count goes to 3-0.
You see Pilar's power zone and where that home run was hit. About center cut right there.
He'll have a green light here. 3-0 delivery to him. Takes it inside corner that time. Rowe last worked against Tampa Bay on the 2nd. Couple of innings. Just 1 hit off him, a strikeout and a walk in that ball game. Came off the DL 1st of September. 3 ball, 1 strike pitch, and that's ball 4. Leadoff man on in the 6th inning. Show your orange and black as the Birds host the Red Sox at Oriole Park for the final time. 3-game midweek series starts Monday, September 14, Tuesday the 15th. Back the Birds on Ollie's Bargain Night, presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet, when the upper reserves are only $10. You can get tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. Ben Revere at the top of the order. Revere, single, run scored, is grounded out and struck out. In at third, way in at third, Flaherty, throw over. No sign from Revere of desiring to bunt. Doesn't mean he won't.
Definitely that potential there. This is a great opportunity for Revere with Flaherty pulled in and obviously Pilar at first base. So some holes all over the field.
He did show bunt and will take the pitch up high. Revere is not hit into a ground ball double play. He is very fast flying down the line. He makes a normal ground ball interesting on the out at first. Pilar, held by Chris Davis, got a pretty good lead over there.
And that pickoff attempt just to kind of see what Revere's doing at the plate. Is he going to tip something? Or are they going to maybe put a hit and run on here? So seeing if maybe the hand slides up the bat a little.
He's had a couple of sacrifice bunts this year. Runner goes, hit and run, throw down, Clevenger. Stolen base. Pilar with a good jump. Good throw by Clevenger.
Pilar was getting his lead out there, really extending, and gets in there pretty easily. Clevenger got rid of that ball well. Pilar got a great jump and real good speed. Get himself in a scoring position.
He is 18 for 21 now, stealing bases.
Clevenger handling that inside fastball pretty well.
Only hope there was that he overslid the bag.
Yeah.
He didn't. So he's in scoring position for Revere with a 2-0 count. Orioles still looking for the bunt. Flaherty and Davis both in at the corners. Machado sneaking in behind Pilar, trying to hold him at second. 2-0 delivery. He does bunt. It's a good one. Backspin. Oh, mercy. There's another wedge shot. Hits the turf and spins the other way. It'll be an infield single.
Well, I've seen that a couple times here in this series where the ball will catch on this turf, and in the daylight, the little rubber pieces that kind of hold all this turf together get a little spongy, and they grab that baseball, make it spin back. Rear speed, a little extra spin there. Rowe eat that one.
So now runners at first and third and nobody out. "11 hits for the Jays. Josh Donaldson, a double, a ground out, and a walk. Goes after the first pitch, fouls it back. He picked up an RBI. Only hit he's had in the series, the double in the first inning. He is 1 for 9. But there are the big numbers on the year. 0-1 count. Check swing. Checked at first. Yes. Todd Tishner said he went around.
Well, that slider is really main reason why he's had so much success against the right-handed hitters. It is nasty, and it does not break until the bitter end. And Donaldson doesn't get the call in his favor there.
Throw over low. Good play by Davis. Donaldson is just out of the top 10 in average. That's about 5 points. He would be number 10. 37 home runs, now third. Chris Davis the leader, 40. Cruz 39. 37 for Donaldson. And he is the RBI leader, 113. Breaking ball outside. And a 1-ball 2-strike count from Rowe. So after the Orioles picked up a run in the top half of the 6th inning, the Jays trying to respond by getting at least that 1 run back and maybe more. Bautista waiting on deck. Infield will play for 2. There goes the runner at first. Ball put up in the air to left field. Runner will tag. Brimel makes the catch. Pilar comes to the plate and will score. Revere, who is running, has to go back to first. RBI Donaldson, 2 in the ball game, 7-3.
Now Donaldson's been doing this all year, knows what to do. He gets a runner at third base, and it's up his second sac fly of the series. Big run right there as the Orioles inched closer in that last inning and gave it right back.
Donaldson's got 10 sac flies on the year now. Here's Bautista, runner at first base, 1 out. He's going to get one down the line. If it's fair, it's trouble. It is. It'll go into the corner. Revere with that great speed. It's coming all the way home. Luis Rivera with a windmill going. It's a double and an RBI. 8-3.
Well, not only can Bautista hit the long ball, rack up the doubles as well. Here the two-seamer working its way inside. He shows how quick his bat is. Hammering this one down the line. He got some speed at first base. So while Raumhold's chasing that one down, Revere kicks it into the other gear. Able to score easily.
So a 3 RBI ball game for Bautista with a 2-run homer. And the RBI double. Here's Encarnacion. Rowe's got a turn to stop Bautista, who was not being held, and faked the go towards third base. All right, Encarnacion's had a base hit, 1 for 3 in the ball game. And this top of the order that had been held down by the Orioles in the first 2 games is not being held down in game 3. 1 down. Rowe works. He works inside, trying to gain the advantage. Nothing wrong with that pitch. And a 1-0 count.
Well, he's lost command of that slider a couple times.
Dave Wallace on his way out. Brad Brock in the bullpen for the Orioles. Bautista now with 94 RBIs, 4th in the league, and continues his output against the Orioles. On the year, he now has 4 home runs rather coming in. Got his 5th today against the Orioles. Bautista, even when he has the game where he goes 0 for 3 or 0 for 4 against the Orioles, and I'm sure it's true against everybody else, he comes right back seemingly in the next game and gets a home run, 3 RBIs or so.
Yeah. Well, they don't let up. Big 3 here. All of them end up with over 30 homers and 100 RBIs.
Oh, thrown away into center field. There was nobody there. Jonathan Scope was not looking for that throw. It'll be an error on the pitcher, Rowe.
I know what this was all about. Jonathan Scope didn't even move. And Bautista kind of already showed that he was going to shut it down after that long lead. And right back to second base. Someone put his hands down. Coach just said, "Don't go anywhere."
One-0 count, 1 away. Infield in. Going to be a base hit and an RBI. That's going to go into the corner. Encarnacion will head to second base. He's in with a stand-up double. Bautista scores from third run in the inning. And that will be it for Chaz Rowe. So this Jays offense, this is what they can do to you. Big innings are not uncommon for this team. Brad Brock coming on. It is now a 9-3 Toronto lead.
Sixth inning. Take a look at his pitch arsenal. Fastball 63% of the time. That crossbody delivery makes that fastball play up, but still throws it hard in the mid-90s. Has the hard slider and the change 25% of the time. 5 wins, 2.60 earned run average, just 73 punch-outs leading the Orioles relievers, holding opponents to a .203 batting average. Lefties just .180.
Runner at second base, one away. Tulowitzki, home run, third inning, good for 2 RBIs. Will take the pitch outside for a ball. Tulowitzki off Brad Brock, 3 for 3. 1-0 count. 3 runs in here in the inning on a walk, single, double, single, sac fly. Monroe responsible for Encarnacion, who got that double and is at second. 1-0 pitch. Brock will miss outside with it. 2-0. 9 runs, 13 hits in the ball game for Toronto. These two teams at the start of this series were averaging a combined 12+ runs per game. That's right where they are here in this ball game for the moment. 2-0, 1 away. Not close. And he falls behind on Tulowitzki, 3-0. Colabello waiting on deck.
Brad Brock might know about those numbers as well. Being careful here. Obviously, the open base.
Taking. It'll be in there for a strike. Lean back. Tulowitzki came in having been held to a 1 for 9 in the series. Still just a couple of hits in 12 at bats, but that hit today came in the third inning, brought in Bautista, who'd walked to lead off the inning on that home run. That ball will go to short. Runner will stay at second base. Machado looks and records the out. So Tulowitzki retired. 2 down here in the 6th inning. Colabello coming up, couple of strikeouts, and he has grounded out. Both these teams will be travel bound following today's ball game. The Red Sox, the next opponents at Fenway for Toronto for the Labor Day game tomorrow to start it. It'll be a strike on the inside corner. Colabello's base hit last time up in the 5th inning. Jays 3 for 7. Runners in scoring position today. Another chance here. Oh, 1. Good pitch. Brock got one down and into him.
Good slider right there. A bit of a hesitation for Colabello when he finally recognized the slider. Couldn't quite get to it. Nice job getting ahead. Good location on both.
0-2. 0-2 delivery on the way, and that'll miss outside. I was just looking to see on Bautista. With the 3 RBIs he's picked up today, he's now got 17 RBIs against the Orioles this year in 15 games. 17. And the top of the order today that the Orioles had shut down have gone 7 for 13 with 6 RBIs, the top 5, which the Orioles had done a great job in games 1 and 2. That is foul tipped. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Encarnacion still out there at second base with his 2-bagger. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way. Ground ball down to third. Flaherty's got it. He'll make the throw over to first, and that will do it here in the 6th inning. But 3 more runs are added, and Toronto extends their lead. Our Honda do-ups, Flaherty, Machado, and Parra. to be a lot harder after that 6th.
Yeah, and the Blue Jays going back to the bullpen. Liam Hendricks now into the ball game. Take a look at his pitch arsenal. The fastball 67% of the time. Increased velocity 94 to 98 with the heater. Breaking ball is the slider. Also has a curve and occasional split finger. Sees numbers on the year. 4 wins, 2.62 earned run average, 59 Ks in 55 innings of work.
Hendricks has appeared in this series as came on to work an inning, gave up a hit, and had 1 strikeout against the Orioles in the opener. Justin Smoke has come on to play at first base. Colabello out of the ball game for Toronto. Ryan Flaherty accounting for the 2 runs on a homer in the 5th inning with our Lexus of Towson drive of the game.
Now Ryan Flaherty catching up to the high fastball. Had some success here at the Rogers Center. Gets the Orioles on the board with a 2-run shot.
Flaherty really got a hold of that one. And Ryan will take that pitch for a strike. Our Lexus of Towson drive of the game brought to you by the area's #1 volume Lexus dealer, 5 years running. See why, LexusofTowson.com. Hendricks' pitch will be down low. Flaherty's gone 0 for 4 against this reliever for the Jays. Jays keep that shift on against Flaherty, but will hold Donaldson close enough at third base to try and take away the bunt. And the pitch will be up high. And a lot of pitches thrown in this ball game. Tillman lasted only 3+, 6 runs, 8 hits. Starter Estrada, 5 innings, 2 runs, 2 hits, but 4 walks, 4 strikeouts. Still the pitcher of record on the winning side is Estrada. 2-1 delivery on the way, and that one to center. Pilar into the shadows. And as promised earlier in the game, we selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to O's Couch Cam. You might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. Nice shot in Birdland. Bring on Manny Machado. 2 walks and a fly ball out. Couple of hits, 8 at bats in the series for Manny. Right field, Bautista. 2 down. So Liam Hendricks comes on and gets a couple of quick outs. Parra coming to the plate. Parra's got a 1, maybe not, 0 for 1 against Hendricks.
Parra got been in a little cold spell here recently. 5 for his last 44.
2 down, nobody on, and he will take the pitch for a strike. Toronto looking for the series win and their 9th win against the Orioles this year. Jason Garcia now in the bullpen. Orioles have needed to have those extra arms that come with the September 1 call up. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery. Parra will take that away. 2-1, 2 down. Hawkins worked an inning in relief, a run on 2 hits, 1 walk for LaTroy Hawkins. 2-1 delivery. Center field. Pilar. Into Twa. 7th inning stretch time here at Rogers Center in Toronto. The Orioles down 9-3. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Wei-Yin Chen on the mound against Michael Pineda. High coverage on Masson. 12:30 O's Extra, presented by Jeep. Game coverage at 1. All the access you need right here on Masson.
Now let's take a look at the series preview. Tomorrow, of course, that afternoon game through Wednesday. Yankees 75 and 59. No, they have not gone away all year long. Game and a half back of the Toronto Blue Jays in the East. Of course, leading the wild card by 4 games. And they have played pretty well, winning 8 of their last 10. Teixeira on the DL, leading the team with the 31 home runs. So Orioles catching a break there without him in the lineup. Pineda, Tanaka, and Sabathia, probable starters. Take a look at Jason Garcia's pitch arsenal. Fastball 72% of the time. Real sharp with all of his offerings since coming off the DL. Fastball up in the mid-90s, a hard slider, and 4.81 earned run average, and a 213 overall opponent batting average.
He goes to work in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Yano Navarro at the plate, double, single, and he is grounded out. So here's Day to work behind the plate. Has been a successful one, both behind it and at it. And the pitch is up and in. Yankees continue to lead the Rays in their ball game at Yankee Stadium today. They're in the bottom of the 8th inning, 5-4. Yankee lead over Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, one of the teams desperately trying to get wins for a wild card spot. 2-0 pitch on the way, will be outside, and it goes to 3-0. Navarro, Goings, and Pilar, bottom third of the order, coming up. Three-zero pitch. Navarro takes, strike in the inside corner. Toronto, outstanding record at home, 46 wins and 25 losses here in Rogers Center. Obviously a very big plus, since they're a couple games under 500 on the road. They've won more games at home than any other team in the Eastern Division, and in fact in the American League only Houston and Kansas City have won more at home, and that's each of them with 47 to the 46 for Toronto. 3-1 delivery, one after one up high, and fouls it off. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Brad Brock came on, got a couple of outs in the 6th inning. Rowe went a third of an inning, charged with the 3 runs, earned runs, on 3 hits. Three-two delivery. Navarro on the big cut. Another foul ball.
You see that good movement. Garcia's getting on the fastball. Well, kind of extending this at bat, but really that's what we've been seeing out of Garcia. Has a better feel for the baseball. I think just overall better confidence. Now that he's been exposed to the major league level. Of course, the arm's feeling a lot better too.
Three-two delivery on the way, and Navarro over the top of it. So good comeback by Garcia after falling behind on Navarro, one away in the 7th inning.
That nasty slider, throws it hard, 86 miles an hour. Late finish, just dropping out of the zone. Boom, and gone.
Goings with a base hit, single, first time up, 1 for 3 in the ball game. One away, bottom of the 7th. Pitch is there for a strike. Orioles fell behind 6-0 before the Flaherty home run. They got another one, top of the 6th, but gave it right back on the 3 runs Toronto got. So Flaherty's homer put him back, gave him a shot. Paredes next inning and an RBI double for their 3rd run. 0-1 pitch on the way, and an 0-2 count. Mark Lowe, the veteran in the bullpen. Orioles, based on the count, move into the full shift. Goings 0-2. Other way and foul. Well, we were talking about how the time of game is creeping up there. This ball game is going to help creep it up there even more.
It'll all even out in the end.
0-2 count. Big hop at first base. Davis will go to the bag. Goings is retired. 2 down here in the 7th inning. Your favorite Orioles are back with their favorite dogs and cats for the 2016 Orioles Pet Calendar. 16-month calendar benefits Barks, Baltimore Animal Rescue and Care Shelter. Calendars can be picked up at Oriole Park at the official team store in York, PA, or you can order yours at Orioles.com/pet calendar. And as with all pets, you can figure out which ones are the real pets and which ones are the owners. Always questionable when you own pets.
Yeah.
Who's in charge? Here's Kevin Pillar. Another big day for him against the Orioles. Home run, number 10, 4th inning, solo shot, and then walked, stole a base, and scored in the 6th inning. So officially 1 for 2 in the ball game and 5 for 10 in this series. Kevin Pillar, the 0-1 delivery to him, foul back. Garcia trying to retire the side in order. None of the Oriole pitchers have been able to do that in this game. Garcia is the 6th. I think the air show is over. It's grown quiet. Here's the 0-2 delivery on the way, and got him to chase, and he does indeed get a 1-2-3 inning. 7 complete here in Toronto. The Jays looking to take this series, lead it 9-3. Brian Price's job security described as extremely tenuous, and the organization could undergo other changes. John Heyman, CBS. The job of the Tigers manager, Brad Ausmus, again being raised. He is in jeopardy. NBC Sports Report. And Hanley Ramirez and Pablo Sandoval have both cleared revocable trade waivers and are now eligible to be traded to any team. SBNation.com with that one. And in fact, the Red Sox may want to move one or both based on this year.
They're going to have to eat a lot of money once again. There's some big contracts by Ramirez, signed a 4-year, $88 million. I know Sandoval got a big contract as well. Mark Lowe now into the ball game. Got him from Seattle, veteran righty, 1.80 earned run average, 54 punch-outs in 45 innings, holding opponents to a 242 batting average. Big arm, 94-99 with the heater.
Adam Jones in the 8th inning against Lowe. A base hit is hit into a double play and struck out. Puts that one in the air to center field. Pilar. Pitch and an out for Lowe. Adam now 3 for 12 off Lowe. That'll bring Chris Davis up. Chris today 0 for 2 in an intentional pass. 3 for 10 in the series, couple of home runs, 3 RBIs in these 3 games. He's 1 for 4 against Lowe. And the pitch taken outside for a ball. That high set, Lowe comes in, good heater, 96. Zipped that one on the inside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike count.
Yeah, good action on the 2-seam fastball. Still holds a very good velocity. Starts it at Davis and works itself back over that inner third.
1-1. Come inside a little bit with that one. Lowe, another veteran, John Gibbons was saying, has made a tremendous addition to this bullpen. His 1.80 ERA, 5th lowest among the American League relievers. 2 ball, 1 strike pitch. Had him out in front. And that'll even the count up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Struck out a lot of batters over the last 30 innings, 31 appearances. He struck out 42. Pretty good ratio.
Yeah, real aggressive pitcher. Doesn't get caught up on trying to feel for the ball at all. He lets it fly. He's aggressive with both that fastball and the slider.
That one Davis gets a hold of and puts it into the corner. Off the wall, Bautista with it. Makes the quick throw in. Not in time, though. Chris Davis got himself a double. So Chris with the 1-out double here in the 8th inning. Extends his hit streak to 5 games with that 2-bagger.
A nice swing there by Chris Davis. Waiting on the slider. Pretty good pitch in the bottom of the zone, but look at the head position. Stays on that baseball. Just that split second longer. Helps him square that one up. Pick up another double.
So Lowe with a runner on at second base. Jonathan Scope up against him. Lowe worked against Cleveland on the first third of an inning. Didn't give anything up. Swing and a miss. Jonathan's had some hefty cuts in the game. A couple of strikeouts and he has popped out. 2 for 11 in this series, but a much better 300+ batting average on the year against Toronto. Orioles now 5 hits on that Davis double. See if he'll chase, and he did. 0-2.
Jonathan doesn't mind getting those arms extended, but at times he starts that swing a little too early. A nasty pitch, well located, 96. Good movement.
0-2, 1 out. Jonathan a ground ball the other way. Track down Goings. Makes the running throw to Smoke. Davis will go to third base. But there are 2 down. Hendricks was on prior to Lowe, worked an inning, didn't give anything up. 2 down, 1 on. Paredes a double, an RBI, came in the 6th inning, 1 for 3 in the ball game. He's hit in his last 4 successfully. 3 hits in this series in 7 at bats. 2 away, runner at third. Jackknifes away. Paredes inside from low. Oliver Drake, Orioles bullpen. Orioles have already used 6 pitchers in the game. That pitch at 87-88's got some movement on it.
Yeah,
1-1.
It's nasty. I mean, yeah, you got to gear up to hit his fastball, and that slider, he throws it so hard it gets on the plate before it decides to make its little slider move. And dropping down.
Down to first base. Smoke is there. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Bottom half of the 8th inning coming in a 9-3 Toronto lead. The 8th inning, the Orioles again trying to stretch out the relief work.
Yeah, so Oliver Drake, he'll get a chance here. The fastball 43% of the time. He's around 90 miles an hour with that heater. Breaking ball, occasional slider, but the change, his bread and butter pitch, 53% of the time. He'll throw it early. He'll finish them off late. 3.72 earned run average in 9 2/3 innings of work. Does have 10 punch outs. Giving up the 9 hits. Opponents hitting .250 overall. Righties up to .350, but the lefties holding in check at just .125.
Garcia worked an inning, retired the side in order with 2 strikeouts. Now Drake. And he will get the top of the order. Revere coming up, couple of singles, 2 runs scored. He is 2 for 4 in the ball game. Told you at the start of the game, the top 5 in the lineup had gone 5 for 38 in the first 2 games. They are 7 for 13 in this game. So they exceeded the hits in this game already from what they had in the first 2. Ben Revere 0-1. Everybody's contributed in this lineup for the Jays, either getting on or bringing somebody in. In fact, all of the starters have at least 1 hit. He's got 3. Jones over to get it. Revere's on. A leadoff single in the bottom of the 8th inning. Packing them in, 46,000 plus. And there's a standing room only section. Look at this huge area that goes from power alley to power alley. All those folks get standing room tickets. And that's just what they do. They stand all the way around. I've never seen it that jammed in that area. I mean, today it's been 2, 3, 4 deep in some places watching the ball game. That's how good they're going.
Yeah. Oh boy, there's a lot of excitement here. After they started making all those moves at the deadline, the fans came out of the woodwork. They've been itching for a winner around here. It's been a long time, since '93. They hoisted a banner.
Josh Donaldson, RBI double, first inning and scored. Sac fly RBI last time up. 1 for 2 officially. He's got a walk in there too. 1 ball, 1 strike count from Drake. Another one of the Orioles. At the end of the season really matters for Oliver Drake. 23 for 23 in saves with Norfolk. Third stint with the big club, but not a lot of work with the Orioles this year. 1-1 delivery. Big cut by Josh Donaldson and a 1 ball, 2 strike count.
Good fastball. But Showalter says, yeah, he's got a great split finger, but he better be able to locate the fastball if he wants to have success at the major league level. He's showing it right there, 91, right on the inside corner.
Bautista waiting on deck. Revere at first. That's going to be a base hit up the middle. Revere with that great speed will go to third easily. So this Blue Jays offense just keeps on coming. First and third, 8th inning, nobody out.
Well, you've seen the adjustments that this lineup makes, and then at bats. That was a pretty good split finger that Donaldson stayed on there. And then we'll take a look at Ezekiel Herrera and pinch hit.
So Bautista out of there. Give him a break. Good day for Bautista. 3 RBIs against the Orioles. 33rd homer for 2. A double for another. Walked and scored in another at bat. Runners on at first and third. Carrera gets the opportunity. He's had 8 hits in his last 15 at bats. And will take the pitch for a strike. 15 hits in the ball game for the Jays. A 1 pitch on the way. Lifts it. Runner will tag. Revere, Reimold. There goes Revere. Throw will come to second. Just not going to get Revere with that speed. Sac fly, RBI for Carrera. 10-3.
Easy money right there. Picking up the sac fly. Get speed like that on the corner and don't have to do too much. Gets that fly ball plenty deep enough.
Well, Carrera gets his job done as a pinch hitter. That's 24 RBIs for Carrera, 77 at bats. And John Gibbons starting to clean the bench. Pennington will be the pinch runner at first base for Donaldson. Pennington, who got thrown out of the ball game, even though he wasn't in it yesterday. He was in the dugout. He got heaved. Edwin Encarnacion. Bautista was unhappy with the strikeout situation, went back to the dugout, was arguing with the home plate umpire Tim Timmons, and apparently Bautista was going to come back out on the field, which automatically would have got him heaved. So Pennington pulled him back in and told the home plate umpire to look the other way, and told him that twice. And Tim Timmons had enough the second time and threw Pennington out of the game. All right, Encarnacion to center field. Jones going back. Got room. He's got it. Runner halfway. Pennington back to first base. 2 down.
Well, that's what you do when you're a bench player. You try to keep the everyday guys in the lineup, right? So you save Bautista.
Yeah. Pennington took a real ribbing from everybody. Even some of the Orioles were in on it today with tweets.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Here's Troy Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki, a home run in the third, his 5th. Struck out twice, grounded out. 1 strike count on him. Tulowitzki with a runner on at first base and 2 down. And a 10-3 Toronto lead. Ooh, Tough force out at second. The shift was on. Scope had to kind of back in to get to the bag for the out. A run in on a couple of hits, no errors, and one left on base. By Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by PNC for the achiever in you. Gary Thorne and Mike Bordick here in Toronto, wrapping up the 3-game set. Jays 3 outs away from winning the series.
And take a look at Roberto Osuna. His pitch arsenal, the fastball 74% of the time. Mid to high 90s with the heater. Has a hard slider. And the changeup, great numbers on the year. 199 earned run average, 16 saves and 18 opportunities. Holding opponents down to just a 187 batting average. He's a fly ball pitcher, 66% of his outs in the air. And yeah, he is the young one, just 20 years old. Became the youngest pitcher in Blue Jays history when he made his debut this year.
Guerrero's going to play right field, Bautista out, and Pennington for Donaldson at third base. First ball, Steve Clevenger sends to left field. One pitch and an out here in the 9th inning. Double-digit figures again for Toronto against the Orioles on the season. The Jays have had 12 win of 12-5, 10-7, 13-6, 10-2. The Orioles in double digits have a 13-9 win and then a 10-2 win in the first game of this series. These teams have put up a lot of runs.
You better be on your game coming in here as a pitcher. Both offenses can tear you up.
Reimold, a base hit, a run scored. The Orioles' first hit came in the 5th inning with 1 down. Estrada is going to get the win. Would give up only 2 hits, 2 runs, 2 hits, 5 innings. He'll be 12-8. Tillman will take the loss. He'll drop to 9-11, and for Chris Tillman, it'll be his 4th consecutive loss. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Reimold on a foul tip into the mitt. We got a chance to see both the oldest, Hawkins, and the youngest. Same ball game. Osuna's delivery will miss outside. 10-15-1 for Toronto, 3-5-1 for the Orioles. Nick Showalter's team will have its 71st loss. It'll be the 78th win for Toronto. 2-2 delivery. Reimold got into that one, drives it deep to left field, back at the wall, and goodbye, home run. Nolan Reimold. The day of his return to the roster as a 2-for-4 ball game and a home run to make it a 10-4 game.
Nice swing right there by Nolan Reimold, taking advantage of a mistake. His third long ball of the year.
Reimold with a homer and another $500 for Denise Miles, our Maryland Lottery contestant today. Ryan Flaherty had the other homer for the Orioles off the starter Estrada. And Flaherty's up here and fouls it away.
Take a look at Nolan's home run swing here. Morrow wanting this fastball away. It works itself back in, up and in, and Nolan Reimold takes care of it.
0-1 count. Flaherty over the top on the 82-mile-an-hour pitch. 5 home runs given up by Osuna in the 59 innings that he has worked. Flaherty 1 for 2 and a walk in the game. 0-2. That'll be down low and in the dirt. Osuna's 1-2 delivery to him is there. That's kind of what you'll get from Osuna. Home runs and strikeouts. With that fastball, he makes a mistake. Major leaguers are going to line up on it and drive it. But when he doesn't, he's going to get some Ks.
Well, great location here. 95. Right across the knees. Flaherty doesn't like it. Good pitcher's pitch there.
2 down. Manny Machado 0 for 2 in the ball game and 2 walks. We'll bounce that one outside for a ball. Orioles more organizational moves. Andy Wilkins picked up first baseman. AAA this year. There are the numbers from the Dodgers organization. 17 major league games back in 14 when he was with the White Sox, so adding some depth. Pitch on the inside corner for a strike. Orioles today an 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. 3 for 8 for the Blue Jays. 1 ball, 1 strike count to Machado. 1-2.
Pretty good change right there. 3 quality weapons from the 20-year-old Osuna, taking on that closer role.
One-two delivery. Pennington up. Great pick, but was he on the bag? Still held it. Toronto takes the series. So a run on a hit here in the 9th inning. The home run by Reimold, but too little too late. A 10-4 victory. Orioles out hit in the ball game 15-6. Estrada wins it. He is 12-8. Tillman the loser 9-11. The Orioles dropped to 6-9 on the year against Toronto.